our friends maybe, and however you may be watching, thank you so much for giving a little bit of your time. We've all done a fresh 8-ball. We're ready to go to talk about this great movie, one of the classics of all cinema, one of the great crime movies ever made. The whole crew is here tonight, and a special guest here to talk about it with me is our own whiskey girl, the Dowager Countess, Lady Corey. How are you doing tonight, ma'am?
I'm great, life stabilizing, and I have to say, Vegas has had Oregon level rain for almost 3 days now. I'm sorry, LA, you're getting, but Vegas is getting the rain that makes me feel like home. So enjoy your sandbags. I'm enjoying the rain. Fucking
She's also going to enjoy the mad scramble that is going to be everything in Vegas for the next week and a half or so because of the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I'm avoiding the Strip. I drove down to the Strip when they're prepping for Super Bowl a few times, and that was weeks ago. Fuck no, not touching that shit until like the weekend after. No.
And of course, he ain't as good as he once was, but he is still my hetero life mate, my best friend Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Not much. I got all dolled up and all powdered up, I guess you could say. And yeah, we're definitely Frank even joined
just
me.
Like Jeremy.
I know. We're all ready for a fun day in the sun. Don't demonetize us, YouTube. We don't even have money yet. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this one because if I've made pretty clear what my top 5 movies of all time are, but if I had to extend this out to like a top 10, pretty sure this movie would be in it. Like, I can watch it as many times as I'd want to, and I'd never get old. Love it.
Yeah, this movie certainly holds up. And of course, all of his exes will tell you that he ain't worth missing. He is the shape of Lone Star State. My man Tex, what's up, brother?
Well, obviously, rest in peace to the great Toby Keith. So, in honor of him, I also like girls that drink beer. But, it is what it is. So.
And of course, and a guest commentator tonight about the movie, brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue, but mostly the red because he is the original Satan. He is freaking Jeebus, also known as Kent. What's up, brother?
Hey, I haven't been referred to as Satan in a long time.
I've prayed to you many times, just so you know that. I hope you've gotten my messages there, dark, leader of the underworld. So I hope you're getting my mail or whatever. So,
Well, I mean, I have seen messed up dreams, so they probably come to me through
that. Do I need to contact your secretary?
I think at this point I just call him Dad because I'm the current face of it, but I can't hold a candle or a flamethrower to this guy because, I've seen him work.
Being nice to him isn't going to get you perks, okay?
No. Well, as the devil already knows, I've already made my deal for a good mid-level job in the underworld, punishing the proper people. So it's all good whenever I get there. It's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Just give him a little room over there and do his thing.
Yeah, a penthouse in hell is still a penthouse. Ken, you're new to the channel. Tell us what about yourself. What do you got going on?
Oh, absolutely nothing. Well, no, I've shoot, I love movies. I can tell you that. And I'm excited to be here. I'm not online really, except for. I kind of do my own thing, weird music stuff, but that's about it. And I work. I'm an ice delivery man.
The irony that Satan is an ice delivery man.
Yes. I'm both fire and ice.
Right.
So,
well, he's got to stay undercover. That way they don't expect it. It's a good way to incognito.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in the right spot if you're a movie fan because that's all we do here. But let's see. Let's get to the movie that we're talking about today, and that is Scarface. It's the 1983 American crime drama film directed by Brian De Palma and written by Oliver Stone, loosely based on the 1930 novel of the same name and serving as a loose remake of the 1932 film. It tells the story of a Cuban refugee named Tony Montana, who arrives penniless in Miami during the Mariel boatlift. I've always mispronounced that. Mariel boatlift. And becomes a powerful drug lord. The film co-stars Steven Bauer, Michelle Pfeiffer, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Robert Loggia. De Palma dedicated his version of Scarface to the memories of Howard Hawks and Ben Hecht, the writers of the original film from 1932. Pacino became interested in a remake of the 1932 version after seeing it, and then he and producer Martin Bergman began to develop it. Sidney Lewin was originally hired to direct the film, but was eventually replaced by De Palma, who hired Stone to write the script. Scarface premiered in New York City on December 1st of 1983 and was released theatrically on December 9th by Universal Pictures. The film grossed $45 million in domestic box office and $66 million worldwide. Initial critical response was negative due to the excessive violence, profanity, and graphic drug use. Some Cuban expatriates in Miami objected to the film's portrayal of Cubans as criminals and drug traffickers. In the years that followed, some critics have reappraised it, considering it one of the greatest gangster films ever made. Screenwriters and directors such as Martin Scorsese have praised the film, and it has been referenced exclusively in pop culture, especially in hip-hop music, as well as comic books, TV programs, and video games. The film is now regarded as a cult classic. On review agitator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 79% approval rating based on 77 reviews, with an average rating of 7.5 out of 10. The website's critic consensus reads, quote, director Brian De Palma and star Al Pacino take it to the limit in the stylized, ultra-violent, and eminently quotable gangster epic that walks a thin white line between moral drama and celebratory excess. Metacritic uses a weighted scale. Average assigned the film a score of 65 out of 100 based on reviews from 9 critics, indicating general favorable reviews. I'll go to you first, Jeremy, real quick. Give me some quick thoughts on the movie before we dive into the deeper discussion.
I definitely think, I mean, even at the time, I'm pretty sure it was a pretty polarizing movie, but over the last 40 years, I think it's definitely earned its place. It still holds up. And honestly, if you didn't know it was a remake, which I'm going to be honest, I didn't know that either until, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so ago. And I bought the old movie and watched it too. So if we do that, I mean, we could kind of double feature this. We could do the old one too at some point. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, if I had like a top 10, I'm pretty sure I could easily slip this one in there. I'm also kind of in like a weird gangster movie mood, so I'm like, I want to watch this. I want to watch The Godfather. I want to watch like Public Enemies, shit like that. So, yeah, if you can go up to anybody and say like, say hello to my little friend. You know exactly what that's from. Even if you've never seen the movie, like that moment. And trust me, it's worth getting through about 250 some F-bombs and like 2.5 hours of movie to get to that fucking point. That is the point. It just goes off and it goes. Even though that camping little bitch shot him in the back like a fucking asshole, but whatever. But that makes a good basis for a video game, because the video game is actually where he whips around and catches that guy off guard and fucking shoots him. And then it's kind of just fan fiction from there. You go down to go assassinate Alejandro Sosa. So it's kind of a what if scenario, but hey, if we had a sequel to the movie, I'm pretty sure that would have been an alternate ending I would have loved to have seen, and then seen played out in a whole, second chapter. But yeah, I couldn't sing this movie's praises enough. So we got another about 2 hours to do that.
Yeah. Tex, what about you? Give me some quick thoughts on the film.
Yeah, I think I may be the outlier on this one for this review. I've never made any bones about it. I'm not really a gangster movie guy. Now, that being said, I do think this is the best of the lot. Godfather I think it's either between this or Goodfellas. It's one of those two. Those are both top quality films. But even my personal thoughts about it aside, this is as far as cultural significance, I'm sure we'll be getting into later. This one still holds some pretty big themes that are very relevant today. But yeah, it's one of those movies that everybody knows about. But yeah, one of those things.
I don't know. How about you, Ken? What are some of your thoughts on this movie?
You know what? I kind of lean towards Tex here with how I feel about it. Like, I never loved this one. I will say it is solid, definitely. But like, as far as gangster movies, I do lean towards Godfather for sure. But I mean, the performances in this are just so incredible. Pacino specifically, and the music also, I think, it really stood out to me. I got invited by Jeremy to talk about this for my first movie on here, and like I've only seen this once before, and it was on TV 15 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
So you got the edited
rewatched
version.
yeah. So I rewatched it last night and was like, yeah, this is better compared to my memory, but I mean, I still liked it when I was a kid, but yeah, no, it's solid. I do enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, Lady Cora, how about you? What are some of your quick thoughts on Scarface?
It's good. I like it, and I've always been fascinated with Miami from watching Miami Vice as a kid, and I love that this is like a different portrayal of a slightly different time and of the city, and also I love the subtleties in the movie that just you don't forget. Like for me, the chainsaw shower scene is like a nod to Hitchcock and Psycho, and like there's if you watch the whole movie, there's like little Easter eggs of nods to other classic scenes in iconic movies. Anyways, love it. I love the pacing of the whole thing. You take your mind off your life when you watch this movie, and it also gives maybe a nice first person experience of the people who come from Cuba to America, and why some of that is, and so I think some people forget how hard it is for immigrants, especially way back when, and I like that they give you a portrayal of that from the first person experience. So overall, fantastic movie, and there's a lot of it I'll never forget, and I think that was one of the most first gory scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I remember screaming when I saw it. But anyways, it's a great movie, and I'm a big Al Pacino fan, so goes without saying.
Yeah, I also, I mean, I don't necessarily consider this a mob movie as much as a crime movie, because mob movies I think are kind of a subgenre of the crime movies. As far as crime movies go, this has got to be one of the best. I mean, it doesn't even start slow. I mean, it starts off with them killing the guy in the camp in Miami, and then from then on out, it's just balls out crazy, cocaine and cars and murder and all kinds of craziness. It is interesting that kind of the background of this film. This apparently hit a little close to home for some drug dealers. They actually had to have some special security around. I think Pacino walked around for a while wearing a bulletproof vest because they were a little concerned that they had told a few too many of the secrets that people that were actually in that line of work didn't want to know. So I mean, yeah, if it's that honest of a portrayal of what that was like, at least at the time, I would imagine it's not much different now, even though it's not talked about as much. But yeah, if it was that accurate a portrayal, I think that it makes it one of the most significant films in history. That's before you get to the acting, which is fantastic at every level. It's before you get to the story, which was fantastic at every level. It was written by the great Oliver Stone and directed by the great Brian De Palma. So I mean, yeah, it's I always say that they're these movies that kind of transcend generations. They're lightning in a bottle. I mean, you get the perfect combination, the perfect chemistry of direction and vision and talent and timing. All this stuff comes together, and it makes something very, very special. Like this movie, The Wizard of Oz is another one. A couple others that I could throw out there. They're just movies that are beyond anything that nobody knows how they got made. They just got made one day, and now they exist in the zeitgeist as this perfect thing. This is one of the movies to me. Does it have its flaws? Yeah, a few, but not many. Not many that I can find. A couple plot holes that I noticed when I was watching yesterday, but it didn't matter. This movie is so good from start to finish. It's a cautionary tale, of why a life like this might seem wonderful, but the life expectancy for guys like this is pretty short. And when that life expectancy comes to the end, it's usually violent and quick and unexpected, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. You make a lot of money doing this, but it's got a shitty health plan, as they say. So, but yeah, let's get to our breakdown first. First off, let's talk about Brian De Palma. I mean, this guy, one of the great directors of the last 50 years. I put him up there with Scorsese. I put him not quite up there with guys like Spielberg, but I mean, he is definitely, if there's a very close second level of great directors of my lifetime, he's got to be at that close second level. I'll go to you first, Cora. What do you think about Brian De Palma and his work?
I'll be honest. When you say the name, it doesn't ring a bell. But when I look him up, I'm like, oh yeah, he's done shit like Carrie. I mean, like in Domino. I'm sorry, Domino's a great movie. And then there's like the Black Dahlia. He's in some movies that, or I should say, directs movies that stand out. And the first Mission Impossible movie, let me tell you, that was the first time I skipped school in high school. My friends and I all went to see it opening day. And he's done movies that I didn't realize who the fuck he was, but he's done movies that make him someone who has, a respectable resume, I would say. I mean, The Untouchables, Carlito's Way. I mean, he seems to have a knack for directing movies that do well. And when you look at the list, you don't see a lot of duds. So he's either very selective or very good at what he does.
It's a combination of both, I think. I don't know. Tex, what do you think? Brian De Palma as a director, some absolute bangers. What do you think of his skill behind the camera?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those names that gets brought up whenever, like you touched on a minute ago, Frank, of greatest directors of all time or whatever. I haven't seen as many of his films, but I can easily say my favorite is one that Cora just mentioned in his version of Black Dahlia. It was like 06 or 07. I can't remember. I've got the DVD, but you have Aaron Eckhart. He's got Scarlett Johansson, Josh Hartnett's in it. He's got a bunch of it's a very well casted film. I love the look of the film, the era. I mean, and I know that film's been done a multitude of times, but his version really stands out amongst them, I think. And for me, that's just the one that the easy answer is Carrie, but I'm not as big of a fan of that one as some others are. But yeah, for me, it's Black Dahlia. Without question, it's Black Dahlia. So,
Yeah, Kenton, how about you? Brian De Palma's been out there for a while. He's made a bunch of movies that, you may not know the list off the top of your head, but when you hear him, you say, holy shit, those movies are well-renowned. What do you think of the work of Brian De Palma?
I have homework to do on him, but I've seen quite a bit. I've seen the movie he made before this and the movie he made after this, Blowout and Body Double. I both think are amazing. Blowout, I think, is one of John Travolta's best performances. And then Body Double is just an insane mindfuck of a movie. Carrie's great, of course. I really admire his camera work, like these long shots he pulls off, like in the opening scene of Scarface, that long shot that just goes around the room. That's his camera work, and he's great. I do need to catch up on quite a few of his, but I've seen a lot of his early stuff. Phantom of the Paradise I watched for the first time this last Halloween. That's a weird, funky horror musical that I think everyone should check out if they haven't seen it. If you like Rocky Horror, you'll like that. If you don't like Rocky Horror, it's a better version of Rocky Horror.
Nice.
I don't know, Jay. What about you? I mean, Brian De Palma, one of those guys that I think you and me have probably grown up watching a lot of those movies. What do you think about his work?
Yeah, for sure. I know recently we said something about Brian De Palma, and I'm like, this is the movie that I just instantly think of. Off the top of my head is Scarface, and I'm looking at the list now, and yeah, you got Scarface, Carrie, The Untouchables, Carlito's Way, even. And as much as I'm obliged to say, fuck Tom Cruise, but Mission Impossible. Hey, just saying, get
the
the Scientology.
Good. The rest of them are kind of like, what are we doing?
I'm not denying it's a good movie. I'm just saying Tom Cruise can fucking just go away.
Yeah, people in a cult.
Cora's only laughing because she would if given the chance. That's why she laughed at that joke.
Oh, no. I'm not attracted to Tom. Put a wig on him and a stuffed bra. He's there.
Come on, Cora. He does all of his own stunts, man. To this day.
Well, she's probably also 2 feet
No,
taller
no.
than him. I don't know if today's guys are that much shorter than
He
she
does
is.
his own stunts, but I'm sure Scientology's cloned him by now. And there's 10 of them sitting in a vault.
Oh, there probably there
in
probably is.
Westworld.
That's
Okay.
his whole stunt team is just like a bunch of Tom Cruises. Like,
Yeah.
not of a conspiracy. That's just what it
Yeah.
is. That's Hollywood, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he's got some pretty damn good movies, and a lot of these, and like he said, like Kenton said, with like some of the camera work, sometimes like you don't even notice, like, you know, it's one whole shot of them just going around that room and they're just interrogating him right in the beginning, and I'm like once you've seen a movie and you've seen it a few times, like you start noticing shit like that, and you're like, holy crap, that's wild that you were able to get a whole shot like that. There was a movie that I've been meaning to see, I think from like the mid 90s, called Hard Boiled, where it's just a whole continuous action scene through like a hospital where they're just going in guns blazing, like these two cops, and they're just going through different floors of this fucking hospital in one continuous shot. And I'm like, you got to imagine the amount of setup that takes, how many times you got to reset something. It's all got to go off without a hitch. So I'm like, yeah, being able to do stuff like that just blows my mind. That's as much as I like movies, you know, I like the behind the scenes stuff. I like, you know, seeing how they pull stuff like that off. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know I think the last one we did of his was probably Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Right on this list. Yeah, I think the last one we probably reviewed was Carrie, but yeah, that's he's got a nice spread. Like, I mean, that's, you know, it's a decent horror movie. And then, like I said, with Scarface, Untouchables, Carlito's Way, kind of in that crime genre. Then I'm gonna say Mission Impossible again. I guess it's more of a spy thriller. But and I'm also, now remembering the Black Dahlia. Yeah. So guy's no slouch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could go. I mean, The Untouchables with Costner and Sean Connery back in the '80s. I mean, a bit over stylized, but still a really good movie. Carlito's Way. A lot of people think that could be a spiritual sequel to The Godfather. And you know, it's Scorsese and Coppola were guys that were friends of his and inspired him when he was young. So you can definitely see their inspiration. That Carrie, one of the great horror movies of all times. 2 movies though that come to mind for me is one is Mission to Mars. He did that movie with Tim Robbins back in the day.
That.
It's not the best sci-fi movie ever. It's about space travel, but it's got its moments. It's pretty damn good.
Do they grow potatoes on the surface of Mars?
They do not, actually. I think The Martian is a better movie overall when it comes to traveling to Mars. But it was a very interesting movie in its own right, about the journey itself, getting there. The dangers of something like that are obviously not lost on it all. That was a very entertaining movie, but also one that he made that I think it's one of his most underrated films. It's got a young Sean Penn and a young Michael J. Fox called Casualties of War.
Casualties of War. Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
That follows in the beginning of the movie, Michael J. Fox is on a bus and he sees this Vietnamese girl that reminds him of a girl that the thing happened. Something happens in the jungles of Vietnam and it takes him back to that memory, and that's where the movie is, this memory. But yeah, I mean, that to me is a fantastic movie. It tells a really tough story to tell, one that should be told. It's not easy to put it on camera and make it, I don't want to say watchable, because at times it wasn't, but because it was tough to watch. But I mean, what happened, you know, some of the stuff that we did over in Vietnam was not on the up and up. They kind of focused on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And but
it was hearts and minds, man. Hearts and minds.
Yeah, it was a great telling of some of, you know, how, you know, we weren't always on the right side of things. And he told it in a way that was honest but still respectful. You know what I mean about all of it. But that's a movie of his that has always been one of my favorite to watch. I actually have it on DVD. But De Palma, I mean, he's one of the greats. Like I said, I don't know that I put him up there with Spielberg and some of these guys just yet, but I mean, he bangs out a couple more movies that hit something like some of these other movies, like a Carrie or Carlito's Way, especially. He seems to do really, really well with the crime stories. I mean, some guys that's just their bread and butter. They find that one genre that they can work. He's great with the crime stories. I'd like to see him do another movie kind of like this. But now let's talk about the cast. I mean, good God. I mean, Pacino. I mean, who was at that point was still relatively not new. He had been around for a while. I mean, he'd already done like Serpico and stuff like that about 10 years earlier. The Godfather, stuff like that. But I mean, he was not Pacino as we know him today. And you know, Michelle Pfeiffer, who was a relative newcomer. She was not. She only really been in one movie up to this point. Robert Loggia, who has been, I think at that point was already a pretty big star. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. Steven Bauer is somebody who I've always liked watching him on screen. He's been in a couple of movies from the 80s I really enjoyed, some of the smaller productions. But I don't know, I'll go to you first, Tex. The cast of this movie cannot be denied just how good they are. What do you think of the cast in the film, and who stood out to you the most?
Well, of course, there's the obligatory answers that you just mentioned, but I got to go with my boy Toad in this movie. I mean, this hombre gets to chainsaw a dude, very, Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque. Did you think I wasn't going to mention this scene? It doesn't get as bloody or gory as I would like, but hey, any chainsaw kill in the movie automatically gets my attention. But besides Al Israel, I mean, how can I not mention the gorgeous Michelle Pfeiffer looking like a snack in this movie? I mean, Jesus, Joseph and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Nice
I tell you what, she was tremendous hair. That just everything was great, just perfect. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was the hair for you, Tex, wasn't
it? Her hair. Hey, don't be shaming. This is 2024. That's not allowed, Jeremy. You can't do that anymore.
This is 1983. That's a different.
That's illegal
time.
He's complimenting her hair. It's not really that bad.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the hair's great. The hair's great. What it falls upon is even better. Come on. Shout out to Michelle Pfeiffer. I can't wait to see her in Batman Returns here in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to that one too. So, shout out Michelle Pfeiffer. Young one, not old. Once she got old, she wasn't attractive, and I don't care anymore. So, young Michelle Pfeiffer. That's my opinion.
I think she's aging well.
I'm like, you're crazy.
Nah. I don't know. Kenton, what do you think? I mean, the cast, again, just loaded with some great actors. So who stood out to you the most?
Yeah, gosh. Well, one thing with the cast I did want to bring up is there were quite a few links to Breaking Bad here that I noticed. Steven Bauer, who plays Manny, is a Don Eladio in Breaking Bad. The guy who Gus works for. Mark Margolis as Alberto, the guy with the bomb. He's Hector Salamanca, and then even Scarface's mama is Tuco's grandma Abuelita. But standouts. I mean, obviously Pacino steals the show. I always look for the smaller roles. Harris Yulin, who's the sleazy cop, who's Palmsy's trying to grease. He's great. Of course, he's also the judge in Ghostbusters 2. He goes on that big rant. And then the other very small role I noticed was the stand-up comedian in the bar, who I don't know if any of you noticed was Richard Belzer.
Richard Belzer.
Yep.
Yeah, plays Munch on SVU, and I'm just wondering, was he undercover way back in 1983?
Is that some cocaine in your bra? You're just happy to see me.
I'm sure.
He was fresh out of the academy trying to be undercover, getting some skins on his wall. What he was doing. It's all good.
Yeah. But
fresh out to school.
Yeah. They're and then Pfeiffer's great as well. Tex, if you like her in the 80s and her hair and what it goes down to, the movie she did right after this, Into the Night.
You're new to the show. I'm going to give you some insight. When we talk about hair, we're talking about boobs.
Okay. All right.
I think it's pretty obvious what we know. What it's about.
It's to say. I think that's just say.
Oh, he knows.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want a full show, the movie she did right after this, Into the Night, directed by John Landis, starring Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer. Check that one out.
I know exactly what you're referring to, my friend. I have put in those Google searches. I'm just saying.
That's why his rewind button is so fucking screwed up and his pause.
It won't pause anymore. What's going on? Dang, I need a new DVD player.
I broke his fucking button.
Bro, of course, when he says Google, he means dark web for somebody who's hacked into a phone. But Lady Cora,
tomato. What are you gonna do?
Lady Cora, what do you think of the cast of the show, and who stood out to you the most?
Well, naturally, what the gentleman previously said, I'll stand out. But for me, when I look at it, to give a different answer, Robert Loggia or Loggia, the guy who played Frank
Loggia.
Lopez.
Loggia.
Loggia,
Robert
thank
Loggia.
you. My first recollection of him was when he was the boss in the movie Big, and then he stands out to
Mhm.
me as being one of the head honchos in the military in Independence Day.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't have and he's done a lot of television. So, I mean, I think he's one of those actors that, is always, supporting role, but has a fantastic presence. And then also, let's see, what was his name? The guy who played Omar, F. Murray Abraham.
Oh yeah.
He's a Star Trek guy. He played a Romulan, and I'm a Star Trekky person. So, and
Oh crap! She muted herself. She said Trekkie, and she got fucking silenced immediately.
George
Set,
She's
like, nope.
Cora, hit
set to
Hit the-
stun.
hit the unmute button, Cora.
Well,
Cora
Cora figures
Cora.
out how to use her mouse.
Yeah.
Jeremy, give me your thoughts on the
hello?
cast. There she is.
Oh, there
Okay.
she is.
There
Okay,
you
go
are.
on.
There you
my
are.
headset had to be replugged in, so I don't know what the heck's going on.
Okay.
So, anyways, I was just saying that Frank and then the guy who played Omar, F. Murray Abraham, are actors that are supporting roles that the actors have been, in my opinion, have been in a lot of other things that you might not place them in automatically, but they're fantastic in this as well. Besides the obvious lead characters. And let's be honest, the people who don't get named, who are just the bad guys, or or they all the people who acted in this movie seem to be on point. There didn't seem like a lot of bad acting or you know inexperience, so it seemed very authentic. So it was very well directed and written, I would say, for all the actors. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? Again, just a loaded cast. Who stood out to you?
Yeah, I'm always, you know me, I'm always of the opinion I try to pick somebody who's not like the obvious answer. Like the obvious answer being, Pacino, Robert Loggia, Michelle Pfeiffer. Because just for the lulz, I want to go with the guy who was definitely played Ace Ventura's neighbor, because I mean that poor guy was just trying to do his job, man, and yeah, it kind of got cut short, unfortunately. But that's a moral conundrum, man. You got a job to do, but there's 2 kids in the car and the wife, so yikes. I don't know what you do.
But
there.
he don't kill no kids, man. Sorry, I can't do that accent. But
I don't need that shit in my life.
Well, that was pretty spot on.
Yeah. I mean, when you watch that, I mean, yeah, it's again, we're talking about De Palma, like being, we've mentioned Hitchcock a few times, talking about suspense, like that. I mean, that's already a tense moment. That's even more oh shit when you realize. I mean, you're watching that whole thing play out when he turns the car around, and they're all like, "What the fuck's he doing? Where's he going?" And he's like, "What?" He's like hitting his friend, like, "What do you mean? He did the same thing every day. What's he doing?" You see the 2 kids walk out, and it's like, "Oh fuck!" And then you're still just riding with them this whole time, and it's like, God damn, you don't know what you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, kind of a fair reaction, but it's like that kind of, for all intents and purposes, kind of humanizes him a little bit. He's like, look, I've got a moral code. I know I deal drugs and I kill people, but like, dude, you're kind of crossing the line here with some women and kids, and right through the window. So yeah, I guess if wherever that F in the chat went, I'll give it to Ace Ventura's neighbor. But yeah, amongst the obvious answers, like I said, with the big heavy hitters in this movie, and I just want to do the Family Guy thing where I want to say, yeah, it's R for Robert Loggia. O for oh my God,
Yeah,
Robert Loggia.
I knew you were going to bring that up. I somehow knew it.
I was going to shoehorn it in there somehow. You know damn well. Everyone, look, it's Robert Loggia.
Oh, is it? Oh my God, it's Robert Loggia.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously, everything you guys said about the other actors is 100% right. I mean, Pacino is just kills in this movie. Pfeiffer is one of her real big breakout roles. Robert Loggia, obviously, and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. Already, her career was already very much on the rise at this point. She'd done a couple films already, but she's great. She's beautiful in it, by the way, too. But to me, the one I've always been a big Steven Bauer fan. I mean, he was in a lot of movies, I mean, even before Breaking Bad, which I didn't watch a lot of anyway. He's always been one of my favorite actors to watch. I mean, in the 80s and early 90s, he was in a lot of really cool movies that did not really blow up at the box office, but they were still very good. He's actually one of my favorite skater movies with a very young Christian Slater from back in like 88 or something like that, or 89. Oh. He plays the Orange County police detective who's going after the guy who murdered his brother. He's always been very, very good. And he's probably the most tragic figure in this entire movie. Because, he's friends with Tony. He helps Tony build himself up. And Tony, because he's so blinded by his own greed, doesn't really, maybe unknowingly, doesn't really afford the appropriate respect to this guy who was his right-hand man through all this. And of course, hiding the relationship with his sister from him and all that just pissed him off. And if you think about it, yeah, he was technically a bad guy. He was dealing just like Tony was, but all he wanted to do was, love a woman and be loved by a woman and kind of have his little slice of happiness in that chaotic world that they decided to exist in. And he wasn't allowed that at the end. It was very unfortunate. That was the only death in this movie that I was kind of like, oh, I kind of hope it worked out a little better for him than to get shot a couple times in the stomach by his best friend. But yeah, I've always been a big Steven Bauer fan. I really thought that he could have been one of the great leading men of the late 80s, early 90s. Why his career didn't blossom into that, I really don't know. But why do so many great actors not get the chance that they should be getting? You know what I mean? There's a million actors and only 500,000 movies made every year, so somebody's got to be set aside. But let's talk now about the plot. I mean, obviously, drugs, lots of drugs. Not too much of similar to the 1932 film, just kind of with a different backdrop. The 1932 film was kind of loosely based on Al Capone and mobsters in Chicago, back in that era, in that time. But they reworked it to deal with something that was very prevalent, that was very much in the news, very upfront at the time, and that was the mad uptick in cocaine production and usage in the late 70s and early 80s, and of course the wave of Cuban immigration that happened about that time. I'll go to you first, Kenton. I mean, the plot of the movie, is it something that worked out well for you? Is there anything you would have done differently?
No, it's the plot's totally it's great. Perfect hubris kind of tale, almost Shakespearean, like where his rise to power, and like he just wants so much and so much and so much, and you can't have that much, Tony. You can't have everything your way.
He's trying to fill a void that can never be filled, or something.
Yeah,
it's okay. Carlito will get his way in about 10 years. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean,
good line.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's all pretty straightforward. I got nothing much to say about the plot, really. It's good.
Well, Tex, how about you? I mean, again, it's very, for the time anyway, a very recent thing that was happening in the news, in the culture of the United States. Do you think that worked out for the plot to modernize it for what's happening today?
Well, I think you could argue that the plot's still relevant today, considering the gigantic border situation we're dealing with camps being set up and, everybody wanting their little piece of the American dream and everything else. Depending on what viewpoint you come from this, this is a very relevant plot. Obviously, as Cora alluded to in the beginning of this review, we get to see what it's like from the inside of this instead of from like our perspective. And, it's how far are you willing to go to get the American dream, if you will, and, for this guy, he thought his dream was millions of dollars, piles of cocaine the size of, elephants and whatever. And then, once he gets all that, he realizes, oh, it's really shallow and empty. But, it is very Shakespearean, as was just regarded to. But, the whole what do you really want kind of thing. What's valuable to you? And it's not an original plot, but then none of them are. But it really puts things into perspective. Whenever he's sitting there looking at the desk and he's got all of these things, and you can just see the emptiness in his eyes, or the scene where they're sitting there at dinner, he's going off about his coked out whore wife that her womb. What does he say? You're with the poison womb or something polluted.
Like that. The room is polluted.
Polluted, yeah.
I'm gonna have a kill with her, man.
Yeah. Right, but would you really want a kid in that situation? I think that would be the last thing I would go after. But hey, to each their own. But it's when you watch that, it makes you think, if I had a world, what would I really want? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that kind of life with a 10-foot pole. Jeremy, how about you? Pretty insane plot. Something
live fast, die young, baby.
Very relevant. Yeah, very relevant for the time. What do you think of the story?
Well, I mean, in text, you know what he said? He didn't mention kids in that. He said you get the money, you get the power, and you get the woman. He didn't say a shit about kids.
Yeah, family wasn't.
I know. I'm just.
To be fair.
Yeah, I'm just. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, it it definitely works because in respect to both versions of the film, they work within the time period they're set in, and also the time period I think they were made. I believe the old one was made around in the 30s, dealing with prohibition, and then this one was dealing with cocaine and the Cuban immigration in the 80s. So it's cool to still take a same kind of like basic story of like trying to make it in this otherwise illegal business. To try and get to the top, but as we've stated a few times, I mean, yeah, you fly a little too close to that cocaine sun. I mean, you're gonna get fucking burned.
Your nose will get burned.
Yeah, or your back's gonna get burned by two fucking 12 gauge shells. But so yeah, it's kind of it's weird when you think of with Robert Loggia's character. He's like, yeah, you can kind of. Especially with the backdrop of it being Miami, Florida, you can kind of still be a successful, like kind of flashy. You got nice suits. I mean, you have a fallback, like he sells cars, right? And Tony at least had the right idea. He did a realty company. So you think real estate in Miami, I mean, yeah, that's probably some big bucks, even in the 80s, especially now. So it's like he had the right idea, but it's like Robert Loggia was kind of right. He's like, look, you don't want to go too wild with this because something's gonna bite you in the ass. And again, weirdly, it was his moral code of like, let's not kill some women and kids, right? And I think he did say it best. He's like, what's he gonna do? Send you a bill? No, he's gonna send a fucking hit squad, So, yeah, you just got it. Well, first of all, don't play with drugs, kids. That's kind of the main moral story of it.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Yeah, drugs are bad.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Exactly. But hey, just like I said, not everyone follows the rules. Because I wondered, like, man, if you could do, because it's weird to think this is actually technically a remake. This movie that's over 40 years old now, but I was like, what if you tried to do that now? I mean, what would it be? Like maybe opioids or like heroin, maybe, or fentanyl? Yeah,
Molly, I don't know.
Well, we can talk about a potential sequel here in a minute because that is one of the topics. So
actually, hold on. Before you take away that image, also I was going to say I haven't seen Carlito's Way as many times, but is that not the same set? Like that one club he's in? I think it's that same place.
I haven't seen Carlito's Way in a long time, so I don't remember.
I swear there's like that backdrop with like
Google
that.
It and see
the club,
same sets.
Yeah, like the club with those mirrors in the background. I swear it's like the same set or something because that makes it kind of funny then if like, maybe he could have survived 2 shells to the back. Maybe he swam out of the fountain. I don't know. Maybe the video game's canon. I don't know. That's definitely not, but I would like it to be. Yeah.
I love the plot. I mean, it's cool. One of the things that you do to remake something is you try to modernize it. You try to make it fit into today's world. Obviously, when the original film came out in 1932, it was Chicago gangsters, prohibition, illegal alcohol, underground alcohol sales, things like that. That was the cocaine of the back then, the fentanyl of back then. And then obviously when this movie is filming in 1981, 82 in that range, when it comes out in 83, obviously this mass migration from Cuba north into Florida and into the United States was a big story. The cocaine epidemic was just exploding at this point in time. It was the party drug of all party drugs at that time. Combining these two things and not just combining these two things, but I mean, it was real life. A lot of these Cuban immigrants were coming here, and because, when a billion people come here, it's hard to find jobs for everybody at once. Some of them are going to fall into some shady stuff because out of necessity. And now for Tony Montana, obviously he came over here with the 100% intention of getting into whatever shady shit he could get into. But I mean, it was a great modernization of that story about, the inability of some people to not take their desire for success too far, which is kind of what Tony's downfall is. He's that cautionary tale of all this. If you think about it, the one lesson that Robert Loggia's character tries to teach him early in the movie is don't overstep. Stay in your lane. Don't pretend what you're not to be what you're not. He said he even says the guys that last in this business are the guys that kind of, they know their place in the world. And I've always kind of thought that a lot too. It's like, don't try to be more than what you are, because you end up inviting people that are bigger than you, and then you get stomped and you wonder why. It's because you were acting big, and if you think about it, the two rules that he gives him is never underestimate the other guy's greed. Mm-hmm. That's the rule that Robert Loggia breaks. He completely underestimated, did not see Tony Montana coming, even though he makes it fairly obvious for the entire fucking movie. He's like, I want the world. I want all of it. I want everything.
And everything in it.
Yeah, and everything in it. And then, obviously, Montana breaks the rule by not getting high on his own supply, because of, that scene.
Well, I think at that point, he kind of knew, man, this might be the end right here.
But yeah, I mean, so those two rules.
Like excess.
Yeah, so those two rules that Robert Loggia was trying to warn him about, it's like he breaks them both. They were both broken at one point, and that ended up being the undoing of these characters. But yeah, I mean, I thought the plot was fantastic. It was a great way to modernize the crime story to make it to make it fit into what was in 1983 the modern world. I think it was fantastic. But before we get on to where this ranks in the Pacino films, I did notice that we have one of our good friends in the chat. We have Casey Is Raw. He says, well, money talks. He said he's going to call a lawyer about the picture. Why am I
you have to pay a lawyer, Casey, before they'll do work for you.
Well,
and then what I said, I'm like, I'm sure if you started making money off of it, buddy, I think you'd change your tune a little bit. So I
know maybe Devious Dave will work pro bono for you again.
Does he still owe you emotional damage money for the name he picked for fantasy football 2 years ago that referred to
now
200 pesos, as I recall? Yeah.
Since you say, I negotiated that with Frank. There was a fare of 200 pesos, or American dollars, as we would say,
and I believe
or the T-shirt
collections out 2 years.
Right. He never wore the T-shirt or paid the 200, so he might just want to hush and go back to the corner. You know what I mean? So.
Just saying, I'm the judge. I remember everything, Casey. Come on now.
He's taking notes.
I sentenced you before. I keep track of this shit.
Here's what I've done to put Casey in his place. Oh, I'm clicking on things I'm not supposed to be clicking on. Here's what I've done to put Casey in his place. You guys have seen the meme. The meme has taken over the internet. It's on every show now. We got Thurman Is Raw.
Maybe.
So what I've done is I've done the only responsible thing that I could do. I put it on a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's actually pending approval right now on Spreadshirt. But once it is up there, I'll leave it up there through the end of the month. So it will be there. So I'll take it down March 1st. But I will leave it up there until then. When it goes up there, I have no idea. I don't know how long it takes Spreadshirt to approve their designs. I guess they're just making sure.
I'm tempted to take his Casey Is Raw logo and change it to Thurman Is Raw. And make
simple editing, man.
Fun.
Well,
hold on. You know what he said, Casey? You know what capitalism is? Getting fucked. Deal with it.
Now,
but it is now the pinned message in the chat. Again, it's not up there yet because it's pending approval from Spreadshirt, but the shirt will be up there. The Thurman Is Raw shirt It's available in a couple of different colors. It's just in like a standard men's T-shirt. I didn't go for like stickers and coffee mugs
Frank,
and all that.
I'm gonna order one and use it as rags.
Oh, I need it.
I'm gonna order one. I'm gonna order probably one or two.
See,
I'll send Casey one.
If you make stickers, I would buy one just to put on my famous cup. I would put Thurman Is Raw on the famous cup.
Like that. I feel like this is the thing that's gonna launch it, because I'm like, if I wear that invokes some questions, right?
And
Someone asks like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, well,
on Alex and the Garbage Man and Drew's gaming channel, maybe. We could really hit all the people who know Casey.
Look, Casey, we're doing charity work for you, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah. And this is what you get for naming your fantasy football team Frank's girlfriend's boobs or whatever the hell. Frank's girlfriend's vajayjay. I don't even remember what the hell he named his fantasy football
team. The name was basically, in essence, she wants my dick. Frank's
something like that.
Wants my dick.
Oh, no, was it Frank's woman wants me? Or wasn't it something like that?
And it was referring to her vagina or something
wish,
like
man.
that.
Yeah. I don't know. It was something awful. So go online. So keep an eye out.
To something worse.
So keep an eye out over on Spreadshirt. If you need the link, I'll probably put it in Twitter at some point tonight or tomorrow too.
There we go.
Go ahead, keep an ear out. The Thurman Is Raw T-shirts will be out as soon as the design is approved on Spreadshirt.
Take Jennifer to dinner.
Probably buy her something nice. Maybe I might donate $5 of it to Casey's stream. I don't mean something like that.
I told you,
I might be like, I'll take a really nice picture of the vacation that we go on.
T-shirts.
I'll send him one
to Casey and make Casey wear it.
I'm gonna send one to his girlfriend. I'm gonna autograph it.
We'll all autograph it.
Awesome. Have a one-of-one made with your face on it and send it to his girlfriend. That's what you really do right there.
I'll send her a Harsh Truth one. That's right. Woo! I'll say I love Frank and the Harsh Truth, and she's gonna wear it to bed.
Owned.
Oh, man.
Kent, I'm so sorry this had to be your first show. You're gonna suck it all.
I have no idea what's going on.
I'm like, there's a whole lore. Oh man.
I should have done some research. I should have watched a few episodes.
There's like 2 months worth of
Drew Frank, he never wore the ghillie suit at the gas station truck stop like he was supposed to either.
He never did.
What a bastard.
He didn't do
He
didn't do like 98% of his punishment for killing Betty White.
Oh, that's right. He did.
He let's see, like half of the eating ones he screwed up till we were just like, yeah, forget it. This isn't fun anymore. So that's how he beat the game, was just Casey just screwed it up until it wasn't. Yeah, Casey just purposely sucked until we got tired of it, and then we let him off. Basically, is how the whole thing broke down. But
hey, you know what's kind of funny?
Ancient history.
You know what's kind of funny? That's how every damn game of Fortnite goes. When I carry his ass to a fucking victory. Come on, man. You let me down, teammate.
He has said he only wins when he's playing in his bathtub. So.
Well, whatever gets you there, I guess. But I mean,
then he's talking about with himself. Fortnite's not even turned on when he's talking about that core. Different game you're talking about.
He's playing Fortnite fucking mobile in his fucking tub with a phone.
About Fortnite, but
whatever gets you there. That's all I'm saying.
He's playing with a joystick, but it's not on his Nintendo. If you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. But
he's playing with. Do you think
in the modern version of Scarface that he'd be playing Fortnite in his bathtub?
Well, there should be a Tony Montana in Fortnite. Wouldn't that be cool?
I would buy the Tony Montana.
Oh my god!
He does a whole fucking line.
I want this Tony Montana in the white suit. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Watch me crack these. Watch me crack these 90s, mijo. Watch this. A pair of these cockroaches.
Oh god.
Cockroaches.
Dude, I even said it. I'm like, you know what? I don't know how we don't have a Tony Montana in Fortnite. Like the white suit, or if not the classic, like the pinstripe suit at the end of the game. Like, give me that in Fortnite. That would be the new sweat skin. That would. God, that'd be.
Well,
awesome.
Here's your loading screen right here.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, right.
That's the fucking
Beautiful.
shot right there.
That's
man.
your loading screen right there. But while we're on the topic, and again, if you guys get a chance, go check out the link in Spreadshirt. It's not up yet, but as soon as the design gets approved by Spreadshirt, it'll be up there.
We'll let you know.
It'll be up there for I'll as soon as I know that it's through, I'll put it out on Twitter or something. So follow
I'm
me on
sending
Twitter.
a link to Casey as soon as it's there.
But let's talk about Pacino again for a minute. I mean, Pacino's made a lot of films. I mean, I don't have to go down the list of them. Everything from Serpico to this to so many others. I mean, I'll start with you, Jeremy. Where does this rank amongst Pacino's films to you? It's got to be. I would imagine for you, it's probably pretty high up there.
Yeah, I see when I start to like spread my legs out a little bit, thinking of like all the stuff Pacino's done.
Spreading your legs for Pacino, huh?
Hey, put that on a shirt. With that shot right there, look at that stance, man. That's how you fucking fire a grenade. Boom.
Is that what unprotected sex looks like?
Yeah, that's what my first time was like. That's an accurate depiction of it. You know,
he even kept his pants on the whole time. He was the only one there. It was great.
And Tex, that was not a bad touch.
I definitely didn't even say nothing.
You can't lose your virginity to yourself, Jeremy, just so you're aware. That does not count. But,
hey.
Jeremy.
I love me, all right? That's all that matters.
I gotta stop. I've got so many I can keep going with, but I'm gonna stop myself.
Two texts and I'm shutting up.
So
drink some whiskey. That'll take your mind off it.
What do you think I've been doing this whole damn time? It's starting to kick in now. So I think of like you think of like The Godfather, Carlito's Way, definitely Scarface, like even Scent of a Woman, something like that. I know we always praise the movie Heat with De Niro. Yes. Holy shit! Like Frank, I mean, how many times, Frank, have you mentioned that scene where
the diner scene?
The diner scene where Pacino and De Niro sitting across from each other. It's like, holy shit. Not only are these two guys in the same room at the same time having You good there, buddy?
Sorry. Help me.
Oh. I know my mom's here. I know. I forget my mom's here sometimes. But shit. What was that movie? Oh God, what was that movie he did with Keanu Reeves where he was like the devil?
Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate, yeah.
Fucking good movie.
Yeah, like man, I don't know. That's a hard one to. It's a hard movie to place. Like, it would definitely be up there. Like, I guess in terms of like rewatchability. I mean, I do watch this movie. I guess consistently. It's one of those long movies, but it's like it's worth I put in the time to watch it. So like stuff like Schindler's List and all those long movies, that are kind of heavy movies, but you sit through it because, like Cora said, you just kind of forget about everything else that's going on. You just get absorbed into this movie. I would definitely put it up there for sure. I have to think now, like what I would say, like maybe my favorite Pacino movie is. I'd put it up there with like maybe if I had to pick three, I'd say like Scarface, Heat, and it seems like such an easy answer to say The Godfather. Like maybe specifically part two because he's kind of more so involved. It's more his movie than anything else. I know what I said when we reviewed Superman, but no disrespect to Marlon Brando, but stop reading your fucking lines from a baby's diaper. That's all I'm saying. I can't take The Godfather seriously when like you're reading, your script off of, some guy wearing a sandwich shop sign over his shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know. Tex, what do you think? I mean, Pacino's had a long, illustrious career. What movies of his stand out to you?
Well, the top two, the top three, I'd go Devil's Advocate. Any Given Sunday, I really loved him as the coach in Any Given Sunday. He played the aging football coach. I mean, he has to deal with the whole Cameron Diaz owner's daughter situation. That's a movie that really underappreciated,
Fucking
especially in the
fantastic
sports
football
realm.
movie.
Oh, it's
Fucking
great.
fantastic.
It's I mean, Dennis Quaid is as the elder quarterback that he's not as good as he used to be, kind of thing. I definitely put those two as the top, and then I guess this one. I mean, Scarface, Godfathers. Like I said, I'm not a mob movie guy, so I can't really put those on my list because, to be honest with you, I haven't seen most of them. I've seen the first two Godfathers just because it's it's one of those movies you kind of have to see once if you're going to be a movie fan. But I'd put Scarface at 3. But yeah, Devil's Advocate and Any Given Sunday are his best work for me, anyways. So that's where I'd have to go.
I don't know, Kenton. How about you? I mean, again, it would take me a month to read the list of his better movies, let alone all of them. Which Pacino movies stand out to you as some of the best?
I mean, I want to say Heat, but I feel like Heat is more of a Michael Mann movie than a Pacino movie. It's just that whole ensemble is so. I mean, it's Pacino and De Niro. I can't see that as just a Pacino movie, but I love him in that. In some, as far as his performances go, especially getting later on, Scarface is it's up there. Dog Day Afternoon is another really big one for me. Because I feel like it's the perfect combination of like him as Michael Corleone and him as Tony Montana. Like if you combined those characters, his performance in Dog Day Afternoon is that, and that's really up there. I really don't think I could rank them. If I had to, I'd go Godfather Part 1. I think he's better in Part 1 than Part 2. Then
Fair enough.
Dog Day Afternoon, and then between Heat and between Insomnia and Scarface. Like I said, Heat I can't put in that top 3 because it's I don't see it as a Pacino movie, But yeah, I mean, I love him. I still need to watch some of his older stuff. Like I need to watch Cruising. I need to watch Serpico. I haven't seen Carlito's Way. I'm behind on that. He's fun in Dick Tracy.
Don't take that movie at all seriously, and you'll like the movie.
I forgot he was. Oh my god,
Dick Tracy.
That's
I haven't seen Dick Tracy since I was a kid. I forgot he was in that. Holy crap!
Oh, he is so good in it.
Oh, I'm gonna go back and rewatch Dick Tracy, man.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Cora, how about you? There's plenty of Al Pacino movies to pick from. What are some of your favorites?
Well, I agree with Hecht about Any Given Sunday. Huge fan of Keanu Reeves, and those two together in Devil's Advocate was fantastic. I am going to go with some ones that maybe I loved him in Ocean's 13 playing the asshole casino boss. Two for the Money with Matthew McConaughey was fucking fantastic. Loved that. And then I'm a Shakespearean kind of fan, so the 2004 film adaptation, The Merchants of Venice, he was in was really good. So I would say my favorite of all is Geely, the Jennifer Aniston. But I'm kidding, he was in that. But
That's a good. You're really not about to say that, are you? You're really not about to go there.
I'm fucking kicking you. Don't you dare. Don't even say that name.
Magic Mike is all I'm going to say.
Burn this. Burn every copy of this. Don't let anyone see this at all.
Delete this from the world.
Exactly.
Well, there is one that gets an honorable mention for me though. His role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with DiCaprio and Brad Pitt a few years ago. That one from Tarantino. He was good in that film as well. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, Cora, how about you? Which one of these movies are standing out for you? You said.
I would have to say Two for the Money with Matthew McConaughey. I really loved him in that.
He was pretty good in that. I'm sitting here looking at the list of movies, and I'm like, good God, can just one of these movies be bad? For one, like I said, I've said 100 times, Heat is one of my personal all-time favorite movies. I don't think it's the best movie ever made. It's just one of my personal all-time favorites. That diner scene, I'll say it again, it's a masterclass in great dialogue delivery. I mean, These two sitting there just acting. There was no bullshit about that scene. It was just two actors with great dialogue throwing the lines back and forth, and there was just the right amount of tension. There was just the right amount of wonder. It was just an amazing scene. Not to mention the entire movie is just, again, loaded with talent. Godfather to me is one of the top 5 movies ever made. I will always say that to my dying day. It's fantastic. It's a slow burn, I admit. But I mean, I've read interviews from people who were really alive and involved in the mob in the 40s and 50s that were just like, this movie right here is the one that gets it. Every other movie gets aspects of it. They said this movie is the one that most accurately portrays life in the mob back in that day. And again, Carlito's Way, one of the great crime movies ever. Donnie Brasco that he did with Amber Heard's ex-husband. Why am I drawing a blank?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Yeah, sorry, getting old.
Johnny Depp.
The pirate.
But one that I don't want to go ignored is the movie he did in 2002 with Robin Williams, Insomnia, the psychological thriller. I mean, you think Robin Williams, you think
never saw that
Mork from Ork. You think Mork from Ork. You think,
the genie,
Good Morning
Mrs.
Vietnam,
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. This is a really crazy psychological thriller where Al Pacino is a cop that is trying to catch Robin Williams, who's a serial killer. It's a crazy, you wouldn't expect. I mean, and Robin Williams has a couple of comedic lines where he cracks a joke, but it's not the Robin Williams we were used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in a funny way.
It's
creepy.
To see him be a maniacal killer after literally a lifetime for some people of laughing at his shit. It's like, you're like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be scared of this guy. This is Mork. I'm not supposed to be terrified of this guy right now. But when he's on screen, that kind of innocent smile that he's always had turns very villainous and scary. And then, everything, Tex already said Any Given Sunday, which I think is an underrated movie. Also Serpico, again, it's one of the great crime movies of the early 70s. This was back when they were making movies like, Dirty Harry and stuff like that. Brutally honest movie about dirty cops. He's done so much great shit. He's actually one of the few people that's actually won the Triple Crown of acting. He's won an Academy Award, a Tony Award, and an Emmy Award.
Nice.
It's not the EGOT, which is the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. It's just below the EGOT, and I don't think he's going to be cutting an album anytime soon, unless you count his musical number in that terrible Adam Sandler movie as a musical number.
Burn this. That's
delete this from the world. If anybody's on the Triple Crown of acting, it's going to be this guy. I mean, he's just been doing it so good for so long. And the scary part is he's not even done yet. He's 83 years old. And while he certainly looks like he does not look as young and spry as he did in Serpico or Godfather or in this movie, he's still putting it out there. And the guy can still command the camera. He gets in front of the camera, that he's there. He's sucking up every bit of energy of the camera. The guy can still do it, and he's going to do it to the day he dies or till the day that he doesn't want to do it anymore. I mean, the guy's just an absolute star. I mean, let's talk about this now. There's been talk. There's been talk of a potential sequel. Let me try to pull the little bit that's in this article up about it real quick. I'll start with you first, Jeremy. Is this something you want to see happen? Because I don't entirely know. This feels like one of the movies that shouldn't be touched. Jay, what do you think?
Well, if we we always know my answer to anything that is 30 or 40 years down the damn pipeline, we're like, but hear me out. What if? And I'm like, no, stop talking right now. Especially like you said, with a movie like this. Now I know that's kind of funny to say because holy crap, he's staring into my soul. Jesus. Thank you for that. Got a goddamn jump scare right there. Holy shit, he's gonna kick my ass in the bathroom. For looking at his sister the wrong way. I know it's kind of funny to say since this movie is, you know, a remake in its own right from a movie that was from, you know, the 30s originally. But I don't know. Like, I always say, like, I want to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. I want you to do it right. And like I mentioned earlier, like, if you're going to do the same kind of, the same kind of thing where you want to try to modernize it like again for something now, you'd have to do that and then again make it work, because like the first thing that popped in my head was like when they did the original Red Dawn in like what was it 84, and then they did it again in like 2012. I'm like, yeah, okay, you did it with North Koreans instead of ironically Cubans and Russians, but I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, what? And I'll never forget when I saw that in like a big cutout in the theater that they were remaking Red Dawn. I was like, oh, look, it's Josh from Drake and Josh. And I'm like, who's this Chris Hemsworth fucker trying to be Patrick Swayze? He'll never make anything of himself. Excuse me, I wasn't aware in 2012 that, you know, the Avengers was a thing, apparently. So also, I love that shot right there. I've seen that done so many different ways on different posters, different color schemes and shit like that. I love that shot. Also, can we say iconic Hawaiian shirt? Like that's if you saw that fucker in the street, you'd still be scared. He'd kill you in a fucking Hawaiian shirt like that. I mean, he did just come pretty close to eating a chainsaw to the face. So I mean, I guess that's kind of fair. I don't know. I always want to say just do it right. I don't have as much faith, especially now, with I guess current Hollywood if we're gonna get down that pipeline. But I don't know. Just tell a good story. It's not like it's a news story. Like we said, you can still repurpose this and make it. You know, you can still tell your story and tell it in a different light in a different time period. But I don't know. And that's the big thing is like, well, would Pacino have like a role in it? Would he be kind of like Sosa, or would he be like Frank? Like just to have a little, you know, little homage in there. I don't know.
I don't know. Kitten, what do you think? I mean, again, you had the original in 32. This film is a remake loosely based on that, but definitely its own standalone product. Do you think there is something happening in the world today that you would be able to build this kind of a story around and still have it be a great movie?
I mean, sure. Like, yeah, times are different, but there's still, you know, there's still all these same kind of issues going on. It wouldn't be a sequel. It shouldn't be a sequel, but like a reimagining, I guess. I don't know how you guys felt about Joker, but that was like a reimagining of both Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. Like
that was Taxi Driver.
And it worked pretty well, I think. Like I feel like you could reimagine it into something else. But I mean, as far as Tony Montana coming back as a 80-year-old, you know, hiding out somewhere, that's not going to work. I don't want to see that.
You gotta clean him 2 holes in his back. That's what you gotta get past.
Yeah, Jeremy, how does you mentioned the video game earlier? Like,
yeah,
as a potential kind of sequel thing.
You know, actually, it's kind of funny now that I just connected something else to it. Now that you say that, it really was just a simple. I mean, of course, you open up right balls deep in the action, right when he says "say hello to my little friend," you start just going to town. But the thing is, like, it is the same up until that point. I think it's just as simple as he just turns around and he catches the guy, boom, shoots him, and then you're like, like now what? Like we've all seen the movie. You're like, oh, now what? And I believe it's like you do go on like this rampage to go now because if you had lived, you'd probably take the fight to Sosa. Like he said, we're going to war. Like we're going to do this. I guess if now, right? Because they're supposedly, and I'm going to keep saying supposedly because I don't want to believe it, making a sequel to I Am Legend based off of the alternate ending of the movie where Will Smith's character lives, which he was supposed
to do. Happening.
So I'm like, well, if we can just say, well, to hell with the ending we gave you in the theatrical version, like, just make it. Who the hell cares anymore? I don't mind multiverses. I know we shit on it all day, but I'm like, yeah, but this is like a what if this had happened? I'm like, well, then I don't know. I'm trying to think of another movie where what if something else didn't happen? Well, you could make a sequel. Yeah, sure. You could do that with anything. There's a reason why, I don't know why I keep sticking out my head because it's not canon and it shouldn't be. Force Unleashed video game from 2005.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell you'd have to explain some heavy shit that this guy exists and then just suddenly doesn't. I can get past the whole prequels having better technology than the old because it was made like 30 years before that, or not 30, probably about 15 years before that.
I will say they're working on a Heat 2 right now. I don't know if you guys know this, but
I've been hearing that for a long time.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest, I don't think it's either.
Do we tell them about
out.
Val Kilmer?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So they want to make it a prequel and a sequel, kind of the way Godfather Part 2 is, where it's like you show the rise up and then also what's going on after.
Leave it alone.
I guess if they did that for Scarface, you could show a young Tony, in Cuba, and then also at the same time, I don't know, maybe Michelle Pfeiffer was pregnant with his kid, and now his kid's doing something. I don't know, but.
But Cora, what do you think? I mean, there's a possibility of a sequel out there. Do you think it's something that could possibly happen?
Well,
that's one polluted womb, man. I don't know about a kid.
I've learned from you that if there's money in it, they'll do it. So you know.
But at what cost? I don't want you to do it just to do. You're so preoccupied with whether or not you should. You didn't stop thinking you could. You didn't stop thinking if you should.
Well,
Tex, you shared something in the group chat with all of us that it was a Jurassic Park logo. It said something fucking 2024. I'm like, I almost just said stop.
Yep.
Please.
Hey, I didn't make
stop.
it. Don't shoot the messenger. I just shared. I didn't.
I know. I tolerated the next three Jurassic Worlds, but
besides that,
God damn it, I humored the Jurassic World movies, but I guess Jeff Goldblum kind of summed it up best in the third movie. He's like, "Hey, not a fan."
I would like to ask Alan what he thinks, but I would welcome any new Jurassic Park movies. So I'm not gonna.
You put a dinosaur in a movie, he's gonna love it. It doesn't. That's not.
Well, there you go.
What did Robin Williams say? Oh, that's a mistrial. That's a biased jury. Throw that out.
Okay, all right. He and I are biased, but I don't know. If they make a sequel, so what? They made a sequel to that stupid, funny, great-ish back then made Coming to America, and it was total shit. So
Well, but you don't have a main character who's fucking dead, is what I'm saying. You got a lot to retcon here. So I would rather it be a reimagining or a remake. Because this thing, I don't know if we
and make him a girl. That's what they'll do.
Put a chick in it and make her gay.
Don't let
Disney get a hold of it.
Lame and gay. That's the rules.
Right. Well, he's gonna be lame because he's gonna be fucking paralyzed from being shot in the back.
I'm just saying, maybe. And would it be cool if they did it actually did something with? Now it would be cool if it was something about Cuba and set it in Cuba instead of Miami. That would be interesting. Maybe do his life before he came to America.
I like hearing about it through him and Manny explaining it. Like when he's in the car, he's like, "Hey, don't forget, last time this year, we were in a cage." And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could just imagine, yeah, that probably sucked. That probably sucked being in Cuba at that time. And this is, like you said, hey, the jails are like hotels here. What are you worried about? I just redo the whole, don't try to force a sequel out of it because I don't think that would work.
What about a prequel? Do you like the idea of what their life in Cuba was like before they came over?
I don't know. Castro's been in power for 140 years. I think we know what the fuck it's like.
Well, not technically that long, and
I know
2 Castros, but
it's his brother now. Yeah, but
Raul, but
yeah.
I think a prequel would be more interesting than a sequel.
Thank you.
Possible. I don't know. Tex, what do you think?
If you found the right person to make a young Pacino and like a young Manny, like being in the army and doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and the Colombians.
Wait. You get a look in your eye when you say Colombian. I like fucking Colombians, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Let's explain that. Let's explore that.
Slap a big fucking beard on Pacino, make him like the Castro of that movie. That'd be fucking funny.
That would be kind of cool. That'd be a nice Easter egg.
That'd be the move right there.
I don't know. Tex, what do you think? Prequel, sequel? How do you think this could possibly work?
Like I said, this isn't one of my favorite films, but I know for a lot of people, this is, Jeremy included, this is like a top fiver of all time. And so I'm going to use another movie that's on that level, The Thing. Okay. The Thing was huge. Now John Carpenter's Thing I'm talking about.
Well,
it was like 2011. Well, I can talk about Texas. I can do like hours on Chainsaw if you want to, but I'm trying to go a different way. I think it was 2010 or 11. They did a technical prequel to The Thing, which happens like the day before or something. It was really odd, and it did not go well. I don't even know if y'all have even seen that movie, but it's
it's set at the Russians base, or not the Russians, whatever other country was there. It was at their base.
Yeah, it's not good. It's like terrible CGI. No. The story, unless you're purposely looking for a bad film, don't watch that version of The Thing. But I could see them redoing the story because creativity in Hollywood is dead. Their idea is, let's grab something off the pile from 30 plus years ago, call it a legacy sequel, get one or two cast members that are still alive, throw them back in it, and we might make $10 million. Probably not. Who knows? I like the idea, but I mean, the archetype of this story is, coming from nothing to having it all. So I think it will eventually be redone in some shape, form, or fashion, but no, I wouldn't do sequel or prequel. You got to reimagine just like they did with this one. Make it relevant to the time that it's in. If you want any hope of having a success, because just dragging back 80-year-old Al Pacino in a wheelchair because he got shot in the back, I don't think anybody wants to see that. Or, the thing of his kid. And
a TV series, like a limited TV series, like on streaming service?
There's been too many crime TV series like that, though. I think
I think that, we've seen a lot of legacy sequels here lately. I mean, look at what they did to The Exorcist. And I know that's a different type of media, but it didn't go well. Leave it. I would wait. Because, because, like I said earlier in the show, obviously on our southern borders, we're being flooded with thousands of people per day. You could still go with that immigrant storyline, but you could always do an immigrant storyline. Bring
that shit up. Anyway.
Oh, hey, please! I'm just throwing the bait. I'm just chumming the water until you snap, so.
Motherfucker. But anyway.
But it needs to be compelling of enough story that's different enough. Because the first one was prohibition. This one was cocaine. Yeah, right now, if you were going to do it, it would be fentanyl. But I still feel like that would be too close to cocaine, and it would be too similar. So maybe give it enough time to something
digital, like something with hackers or something. Because Die Hard did that in that last Die Hard movie. They went
Bitcoin went mafia.
Yeah, well, see, I liked Live Free or Die Hard, but that's not a gangster thing. That's a different kind of movie.
Do something. To make it more relevant to younger people. But I don't know. It's just an idea.
I think if you're going to do a Scarface, it needs to be a reimagining, completely disconnected from everything, but don't bring the plot from this past, but bring the feel of it to because obviously you're carrying the name. So bring kind of the feel of this movie into an updated version with a new premise. I think is the only way to be successful, but I still don't think they should, go back to the Jurassic Park quote, but it is what it is.
I am trying so hard to find this damn video game that's not like, an obnoxious amount of money because it is kind of niche. It was released in.
Oh.
I'm gonna derail here. It was released in 2006. So, I mean, take that for what it is. On PlayStation 2, the Wii, Xbox. I'm assuming
You're talking about the Scarface video game.
Yeah, I'm trying to like. Now I'm feeling weird because I never actually played it. I've watched like a gameplay of it. It's not a. I mean, it's 2006. It's not like a relatively long game, and again, it is kind of the what if. Like if you go down to the to the chapters of somebody who played it for like 3.5 hours. You escape the mansion, go back to Miami, a penthouse assault. Hello, that went too far. Little Havana District, Revenge for Mama, Freedom Town redo, Downtown, Nacho Contreras. Apparently, you do something with him. Cocaine Transport, Jungle War, and then the ending is Kill Sosa, Gaspar Gomez, and Sheffield. I don't remember who that is. But yeah, I mean it. I don't know if they consider the game canon, but now I'm trying to find it because now I'm in a weird. I don't know why I tried Amazon. I'm trying to eBay, see if somebody's not gonna.
While you're looking at that, let me go down some of the troubled road that a potential sequel or remake has gone down. In 2001, plans were made for some Cuban artist I've never heard of named Cuban Link to start a sequel titled. To write and star in a sequel titled Scarface, Son of Tony. That never happened. That never came to fruition. In 2011. They started to develop a new version of Scarface. They even had David Ayer and David Yates in talks to direct the film. It was going to be written by, I forget who, Bergman, who was the producer of the 83 show. The 83 movie was set to produce this one as well. That didn't happen. March 2014, Pablo Larraín was in negotiations to direct with Paul Atanasio to write it. That never happened. They hired somebody to write the scripts, and in 2015, that never happened. Anton Fuqua was hired to direct the film in August 2016. That was actually kind of interesting to me. Terrence Winter was supposed to write the script for the film. He wrote things like Boardwalk Empire, stuff like that, so he had some experience in the gangster stuff. Fuqua ended up leaving the project right about the time that Diego Luna was actually cast in the lead role. But that never seemed. Yeah, I heard Diego Luna in cast in this, and I was like, okay, I'm interested.
Okay,
I see. And directed by Fuqua, you get some Training Day vibes in there.
Yeah. The film was
could be amazing.
The film was originally scheduled to be released in August of 2018, with the film's original script to be written by the Coen brothers. That Fuqua was brought back to direct this new film. However, that never happened, and obviously, shooting was supposed to start in October of one year. It doesn't say, but it never happened. Fuqua again departed the project in May of 2020, where Lucia Gradino, I butchered that name, was set to direct the film once again to be adapted from scripts by the Coen brothers. That never happened. As of 2022, the status of the film has reached a standstill, and Guadagnino has not announced whether he was even still involved with the project. The reality is, just don't remake this damn film. Just stop. If you have to work this hard, go through 25 directors. Look, we saw this with The Flash. 27 directors, and a decade later, they didn't put out the kind of film that they really wanted to put out. It's like, you know what? Just back off, let this thing breathe. You don't have to be.
It's going to be looked at as a cash grab, no matter what it is. It's not going to be good.
I mean, you don't look. It's not like anybody out there is clamoring for a film like this right now. Anyway, it's like there is no Reddit subgroup that is like, bring back Tony Montana right now. There's no petition being signed by 500,000 people. There's nobody clamoring for a sequel or a remake to this. So if you're going to do it, fine, but take your time and make sure you do it right, because you're not missing money by delaying it another year or so. Take your time. Casting's got to be right. Director's got to be right. Story's got to be right. Because if you flub any one of those things, this movie's going to go down the toilet. Because you've already got a pretty high bar to set, not just from this film, but from the original 32 film, which is very good. So if you come in just under those, you'll be okay. But if you miss the mark by a lot, you're screwed. I mean, that especially if it's a young writer, that could end their career. But honestly, just leave it alone. Not everything needs to be remade.
Crap.
Just let movies be good the way that movies are. You know what I mean?
I'm having a squirrel moment. I got to share something. So you guys were talking about the video game for this.
As I'm sitting here like, fuck, I found it on eBay. I'm going to fall into that damn rabbit hole again. I'm going to bid on that.
I'm in Vegas, and, I was
I'm going to try and get
Twitter it. Thing. So Resorts World has turned part of their building into a giant screen. It's like 10 floors. Someone's playing Madden on it.
Oh, cool.
Playing a video game and playing it on the side of a casino building in Vegas.
That makes sense.
Well, I guess, I mean, if we're not gonna If we're not going to at least mention it, I guess maybe the other closest next best thing to this would be GTA Vice City, because that was definitely totally not Scarface.
Yeah, definitely inspired by
Right. Yeah.
You can't tell me
Miami
that-
Vice.
Right, because I'm like, man, that Miami Beach right there, and there's a little Easter egg in Vice City. If you go like back one block, and there's the hotel. If you go up in there, there's a secret little room you go into, and in the bathroom there's bloody handprints. And there's a fucking chainsaw pickup for a weapon right there. I'm like, come on, it writes itself. The house you get at the very end is very much the same damn house, except instead of two staircases going up to the middle, it's just one big staircase up the center instead of two on the side. It's the same story. The office is exactly the same. He's got the CCTV cameras right there, the desk, the black leather chair against, like, there's the, I guess not the bay, but the ocean right there. And it's the same ending to the game as it is in the movie. Like, you're standing there, and then now you're going to war with all these guys that, again, it just kind of blows up at the end of the movie, and at the end of the game. So
there's one more thing I wanted to bring up about that the Scarface video game, is that that was being made at the same time as the Godfather video game, which was basically like a GTA clone, set in the 40s. And Al Pacino could only give his likeness to one game, so he gave it to the Scarface game. But the Godfather game, the whole rest of the cast that was still alive all gave their likeness to that. So, like, Abe Vigoda as Tessio is in there. Like, Robert Duvall, James Caan, they're all in there. And then you see Michael Corleone in the Godfather game. It looks and sounds nothing like him. But it's because he gave his likeness.
Hey, I guess if that's the one you wanted to do over one over the other, I mean, who am I to say?
I never played the Scarface game, but I played the Godfather game, and it is excellent.
Yeah, and now I'm sitting here like, I never actually played the game, and now again I'm sitting here on eBay. I'm like, well, I'll be a dick, and I might snipe it later, but because it's not got much longer on it. But yeah, damn it, here we go. I want to go down this rabbit hole. I'll check it out, because it seems. I mean, I can dedicate. What is it like? Somebody played it for what, 3.5 hours? That's not bad, I guess, for a what if kind of video game. Again, from that time, it's not going to be anything crazy. If you guys want to remaster a video game, remaster that shit.
Well, let's get into some trivia now, because I've got a couple of doozies here. The first one about Michelle Pfeiffer. She was a relatively unknown actress at the time, known primarily for her role in Grease 2. And both Pacino and De Palma had argued against her casting, but the producer Bergman had fought for her inclusion. Glenn Close was actually the original choice for the role, while some of the other names considered for the role included, and boy, get ready for this list: Gina Davis, Carrie Fisher, Kelly McGillis, Rosanna Arquette, Melanie Griffin, Kim Basinger, Brooke Shields, Sharon Stone, and Sigourney Weaver. Could you have gone wrong with really any of those names? I'm not going to lie. The only person on this list that I think would have been interesting, the only person on this list that I would have been interested to see in this role is Sigourney Weaver.
I'd agree with that.
I really like Michelle Pfeiffer in this role, but Sigourney Weaver's got this look about her, man. She can be both beautiful and disarming, and at the same time very intimidating.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess what came out that year instead was Ghostbusters, right? Maybe 3.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well for her.
So, well, yeah, I think she was doing pretty good.
Yeah, I couldn't have seen Sigourney. I mean, she'll forever be Ripley. I couldn't see her in that. Maybe in Carrie Fisher, but I'll stick with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Isn't Sigourney Weaver like a full foot taller than Al Pacino?
That's the other thing.
They're about 2 feet taller than him, actually.
Yeah.
Probably a foot taller than most average men.
Yeah.
She strikes a very imposing figure. That's like her look, I think, would have been fantastic. But I mean, like you said, she was probably a foot taller than just about every guy on set. So I have a feeling that would have thrown things off a bit. But yeah, I mean, as far as acting chops are concerned, I absolutely think she could have done it. I mean, at this point, she had already been in Alien. She had already done. What else has she already done? I forget off the top of my head. But I mean, she was already a pretty big star at the time. Ghostbusters came out a year after this. So I mean, she had already had plenty of successes. But let's see. I already talked about that terrible sequel. I'll skip that one. Let's see. During the scene where Tony and Elvira are sitting in the Cadillac at the dealership, let's see. Al Pacino surreptitiously slips on the hat where Michelle Pfeiffer was wearing while she was looking away. That was actually not scripted. When she turns back and sees him wearing it, her amused reaction was genuine. And to her credit, she stayed in character and ad-libbed that line. Brian De Palma decided that unscripted exchange in the movie showed Elvira's gradual warming up to Montana and decided to keep it in the movie.
No, it works. That totally, I mean, you can kind of tell. I'm like, nah, she's,
Yeah.
you just totally side-blinded her with that. And I mean, come on, you follow up with, would you kiss me if I wear the hat? No.
I think that's the funniest that Tony is in the movie is right there when he puts that hat on.
Yeah.
He makes that little face.
Because he's just like, all right, fine, let's go. He just starts driving with the hat on.
Yeah.
You know, we all love our guns here for one reason or another. The prop firearms were actually equipped with electronic synchronizing devices so that they would only fire when the camera shutters were open. The result was that the gun's muzzle flashes are much more visible and consistent than in most films.
Yeah, I knew they had like technical problems with the gun, that they're like, they did this wild thing where they hooked it up to where like every time you pull the trigger and at least the gun went off, they were like, all right, camera's going and we're gonna catch it. Because you got to imagine how many rounds, even like blank rounds, even you run through a gun like that, fully automatic, that fucker's gonna jam. It's gonna get dirty. It's no. And how many times are you shooting something over and over and over? And you probably got multiple guns, but man, my God, I don't even know how you'd begin to do something like that. So ingenuity at its finest. Just, I mean, I don't know if you're going to mention it, Frank, but also just don't grab the fucking barrel of the gun when it's still, red hot. Because that happens. Don't do that.
Might get a nasty burn on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I left that one off here. But, Spielberg, a buddy of De Palma, actually, Spielberg and De Palma have been friends since the two began making studio films back in the mid-'70s, and they made a habit of visiting each other's movie sets. Spielberg was on hand for one of the days of shooting the film, so De Palma let Spielberg direct the low-angle shot where the attackers first enter the house at the climactic point of the movie. He actually
I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah, he actually turned down an opportunity to be credited as a director because he wanted this film to be De Palma's vision, as he put it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to have his name on it and take away from that.
That's how Tobe Hooper got screwed out of Poltergeist directing credit, because Tobe Hooper was that director, but Spielberg was getting some like secondary stuff. And the one day that media had came to cover it a little bit, and they saw Spielberg shooting instead of Tobe Hooper. And then I mean, even after Tobe Hooper passed, he still never got credit. I mean, I think Spielberg had to take out like a full page in the newspaper to be like, no, I was not ghost directing. This was not what this is. But Tobe Hooper never got the credit for that. So it's probably best for De Palma that he didn't do that, but whatever.
Yeah. That's like a common misconception. Like people think that Spielberg ghost directed that whole movie. And it's like, no, give Tobe Hooper the credit he deserves. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be fair, Tobe Hooper's life was, a story of doing some of the coolest stuff and never getting credit for it, including the day that he died. The day that he died, Hurricane Harvey hit Texas, and nobody talked about, one of the greatest directors of all time. So, Spielberg's a heck of a presence, man.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as if we could want more guns, Tex. See, according to AMC's DVD TV
guns.
Much More movie, the airing, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Tony's little friend is an M16 with an M203 40 millimeter grenade launcher attached to the barrel.
Oh. Yes, sir.
I want.
You know how fucking heavy that gun is? Holy shit, son.
Well, that's the reason why he's squatting down, because the son bitch is so damn heavy. He can't stand up straight.
He's so skinny, he can't put any weight behind it.
It's probably about as heavy as Pacino is.
Right.
Yeah.
He's cocained out, son. Like, there's no way. You're tucking that bitch in like Rambo, and you're going for it.
That's one of those kind of guns where you just hold it and people run, but I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna leave. So you win. Sorry. You don't even have to shoot that at somebody. You just show it to them. It's like loading a shotgun. just that sound that when you're racking it, So
that's all he does. He just kind of walks into him and just starts spraying like fucking crazy. I'm like, yeah, no, I wouldn't be fucking with this guy. No.
I was looking at him be like, okay, Tony.
Pray and spray, baby. Pray and spray. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oliver Stone actually named Tony Montana after his favorite American football player. Who do you think that was, Tex?
Gee.
That'd be Troy Aikman, right? Or maybe Roger Staubach.
Totally.
One of those.
Totally.
Yeah.
Staubach. Tony Staubach has a ring to it when you're a Cuban.
Is he on your favorite team, the Cowboys, Frank?
He is. Totally.
Yeah. Go Cowboys. That's right.
When Tex plays video game football, he always trades for Joe Montana so that he can lead the Cowboys to the glory that he
would trade. I would trade for Joe Montana just to bench him and put in Tony Romo. All right, I'd put Tony Romo before Joe Montana. Go Cowboys! I don't care what
they still lose the first round of the playoffs. It doesn't matter.
Hey, I can't wait for Taylor Swift to beat y'all in the Super Bowl. I can't wait for it. You just wait, buddy. It's coming.
She's not playing in the Super Bowl, right?
So she'll be MVP. By God, you just wait. She'll be MVP. You just hold on.
Bad touch, Tex.
I hope that when the Niners win next weekend, Brock Purdy holds up the trophy in front of the camera. He's like, "Look what you made me do."
Yeah. I can't wait to see him crying as all the Swifties are celebrating. That's going to be great.
There are 2 songs that are played in the film. One of them is called "Shake It Up." The other one is called "I'm Hot Tonight." Those were performed by a then 21-year-old Elizabeth Daily. Do you guys remember that name from a movie that we talked about a while back?
I'm just staring at Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's looking at her hair again. God damn it.
The hair. The long flowing hair. She's the one that played Dottie in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She did the voice of one of the voices in Powerpuff Girls.
Of all the things on her resume. I'm going to say it's Geely.
Hey, Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a great film. I don't know what you're talking about.
He had some really nice adventures in movie theaters. So,
Hey, he went to the Alamo in that movie. You watch your mouth, Cora. Okay?
He got his
basement of the basement of the Alamo.
And another tie back, Elvira was in that movie too, the Cassandra Peterson version, just a different Elvira. So there you go. So
let's see. Now, this should come as no shock to anybody. One of the international corporations set up by Saddam Hussein to launder money from his various enterprises was actually called Montana Management after Scarface after this movie.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm not surprised whatsoever.
He was obsessed with American movies when they first went into his palaces. He had like posters everywhere, and he's obsessed with American.
About 400 fucking PS2s that he was running shit off of. Yeah.
My brother took a picture of some of his solid gold weapons.
Ooh.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's got a picture of him holding one of the solid gold AKs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
He was just like, I wonder
what the durability is of a solid gold AK, like jamming and like mechanisms.
He thought it was gold plated.
Well,
so
probably
different than solid gold.
Yeah, because my gold's pretty soft. I don't know if that would really work.
Yeah, it's
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not like a stainless steel level of quality for firearm or something that you're going to be dealing with,
Let's see. The only 2 main characters that survive the film are all enemies of Tony Montana, except for Elvira, his wife, and Tony's mother, Mama Montana. Everybody else dies.
Great.
Everybody dies. That's the rules.
It just goes to show.
It's really easy to not wonder what happens to all the characters afterwards for the people who need more. So this is really good closure.
Yeah, it goes to show that like this kind of life, it doesn't just screw you; it kind of screws everybody in your orbit. It's another good reason to kind of stay away from it. You know what I mean?
No, okay. I was like, wait, what happened to Ernie? I'm like, no, he was down on the ground with the big guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got a garrote around his neck.
Yeah, it was like around his neck. Yeah, because Chi-Chi, who is definitely not some weird reincarnation of Bruno Mars, got shot around the door. Man, he was so close.
Of course, this is all until the sequel comes out, and then most of them are revealed to still be alive.
Yeah, you can
5 seconds before everybody dies, Doctor Strange shows up and yanks them out of existence, and they go to another world.
Portals everywhere.
You saw how many times he got
basically
shot.
take the plot of take the plot of Spider-Man: No Way Home, but put in Scarface characters. That's what this is a sequel. Guys. This is what we're going with.
Squirrel moments. I'm just saying.
Yep.
You see some like cell shaded PS2 looking version of Tony Montana come through as the video game version. You're like, son of a bitch.
You guys want to know what some other famous people thought about this movie from the premiere?
Yes.
It's an interesting list of different people. According to AMC's DVD TV Much More movie, at the premiere, singer and actress Cher loved the film. Lucille Ball came with her family and hated it because of the graphic violence and language. Well, Dustin Hoffman was said to have fallen asleep during the movie.
Oh, no.
Writers Kurt Vonnegut Jr. and John Irving were among those who allegedly walked out in disgust after the notorious chainsaw scene. And apparently at some point in the middle of film, Martin Scorsese turned to Steven Bauer and told him, quote, "You guys are great, but be prepared because they're going to hate it in Hollywood because it's about them."
Well,
mic drop.
Man, why didn't Scorsese ever cast Steven Bauer in something? Come on.
I mean, now I do give credit for a couple kills. Obviously, having a hanging from a helicopter, points for creativity. That was just cool.
Yeah.
But I felt like they could have went a little further with the chainsaw scene. Like, they cut away from from too much, of the gory stuff for my taste.
Well, that's also
but then
why
again, that's what I go
early.
to movies for.
They did it so early in the movie to kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And, you know what they got tied up the most with? The dumbest shit. They got tied up with when the two brothers, they try to shoot Tony when he's still in the club, and they end up nailing that fat dude in the suit. I know he has a name.
Yeah.
That was what they were upset about. They're like, "Oh, you shot him like 3 times. Can you take that down to like 2?"
Well,
like,
they actually,
yeah.
When they sent this to the MPAA to get rated, they actually rated it X.
Yeah, it was teetering on like being an X-rated movie to R, and then they kept.
So
it was that they had to cut down that guy getting shot like a certain amount of times. Like, you don't even see it. I don't even know who he is. Who the fuck cares?
Well, check this
That's
out.
not the point.
Yeah.
They sent it to the MPAA. They sent it back with an X rating, and gave some notes onto why they rated it X. So I guess De Palma made some edits, sent it back, and they rated it X again.
Yeah.
And so he made a couple more cuts and sent it back, and they were going to give it another X rating. So what him and the studio did was they took a bunch of experts down and went and appealed the decision to the MPAA, the Ratings Association.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, fine, we'll give it an R rating, because they said something about some guy was shot 22 times, or because Tony Montana I think is shot a total of 22 times at the end of the movie.
Him. Yeah,
and they were worried about that. They were worried about some other things. I think the chainsaw scene bugged them, but that wasn't like the worst scene they found.
Yeah, I'm like, that wasn't
but De Palma decided, you know what? None of the producers have ever actually, not the producers, but nobody at the production company has ever like really given a shit what movie I put out anyway. So he got the R rating from the MPAA for his final cut, and then turned in the original version as the theatrical cut. You're not going to know any better, and that's what ended up in theaters. He was just like, screw you guys. I don't blame
It's crazy too, because like in 1983, that would have been like the golden age of like slasher movies. Like you'd think,
I was going to say
that's right in that time where I'm like, do you really have like a rating system? Because you think of something like you watch Cujo, I'm like, that's pretty violent, but I mean, it's like PG.
Well, to be fair,
that wouldn't be PG. That'd be like rated R. You know what I mean? So it's that wild
look
West
at the
era,
Friday
like,
the 13th
ratings.
Look at the Friday the 13th films.
They did cut out a lot of.
I believe it's part 5.
True.
Part 5 and 6 is where the MPAA basically neutered those movies. Like they took out all of the good stuff. And the worst part about it is it's not. They didn't save that footage, so they can't just go back and put it back in now to get the original cuts of the films. So at this point, I mean, because you would have had Psycho in what, 69, you had Chainsaw in 74, you had Halloween in 78, So you had some, more bloodier, gory type stuff, but it, to be fair, we could spend hours going over how nonsensical the MPAA is. They don't even have a set standard of rules. It's just, we feel or we think this should be done. It's so you can't gauge it. If you ever want an interesting story about the MPAA, look up Adam Green. He directed all of the Hatchet films. Listen to him talk about the story of trying to get these films approved. And he really gets into the details of it. It's pretty interesting. I think it's on YouTube or something. But,
well, let's not forget that
nonsense.
Let's not forget that Texas Chainsaw was in fact banned in several countries though for a long time. To be fair,
right? Even though you don't see all the blood, it's just you think you see these things. You don't see the hook go into her. You don't see anything, but you think that you do.
The only person who gets killed by a chainsaw is Franklin. You don't even see that. You really don't even actually see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
go back to Halloween 78. The only one that gets stabbed is Bob when he puts him on the wall. Other than that, he strangles. He does everything else. He doesn't even stab that many people. So it's like I said, the MPAA is
and he whiffed Lori's shirt. He didn't even get that. He couldn't even do that.
Right.
Damn it.
Right. It's when it comes to these ratings boards, films should not, short of a few certain things, films should not be censored because then you just go censoring art and you just ruin it.
You have to have some type of system for people who have children.
Have a little bit. If you start,
you have to have some type of even if it's just informed, like boxes checked. Like there's nudity or there's cursing, whatever, just to give the information at the beginning of the content, so that if people want to censor for their minor children, you gotta have something.
Don't do some cannibal Holocaust type shit.
I don't want to see a lot of sex in content. I don't like seeing.
And I have no problem with that. But where I do have the problem is come up with a constitution. Here's the rules. Well, here's guidelines to follow.
No, they ain't gonna change. Yeah,
well, all I'm saying is it would be much easier for films to be made if De Palma said, okay, here's the rules we can go by to get this movie made.
Right.
Other than, the MPAA, they may or may not like this. I'm going to have to send it back 15 times and make phone calls.
Ideas on a bus and send it to Washington.
Oh, would you like some more in Vegas?
Remember this: the MPAA does not censor; the MPAA rates.
The FCC censors.
So
even the FCC doesn't censor.
Well,
they punish. Now what they do is they say is you give them your movie and they say we're going to rate it this because of this, this, and this. They don't actually start lopping scenes out because they don't agree with them. They say you're going to get a rating. Now, basically, what happens is that will. Especially nowadays, your rating is important because if you're under 18, you can't get in to see a rated R movie without an adult. If you're under the age of 13, they say that they won't let you into see a movie. So that's why ratings matter, because it can affect the money that you make at the box office. It's not necessarily censorship in that they are lopping things out of your movie and altering your creative vision. That's what it comes down to. And even back then, before the overhaul of the MPAA and they changed the way they rated and stuff like that. Censoring wasn't what they were doing. It was really all about money, the kind of money that you could make. Because if they had gotten their X rating, a lot of they would have gotten this thing out in wide release. They'd have been lucky if this thing would have seen
distribution, Frank, like for streaming services, you might have a policy though. So
back in 1983, no.
Now
maybe, but even then, it's like streaming services. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
Okay.
Well, I don't have an issue with the rating of a movie because I do feel that is important to Cora's point of I don't want to take my 5-year-old to see, like Jeremy said, a cannibal Holocaust or something like that. I want to know here's what a film entails, so I know exactly what I'm going into. But like I said, there needs to be set guidelines of violence, nudity, sex, whatever it may be.
Drugs.
And as long as you're within those guidelines, you're good. But with it being we feel or we think, that I don't like the MPA for the way that they do their business. I'm not a fan of it.
You know what? My copy of Cannibal Holocaust, it even like prefaces right up from the start. It's like, do you want to watch this
it's so
without the
stupid.
animal cruelty? I'm like,
no.
I guess I don't know. I'm like, what
if
happened?
you're not watching a film, if you're watching an edited version of a film, it's dumb. They kill a turtle and a monkey. Big deal. Get over it. They were gonna die anyways.
I was like, I think I saw worse shit during the movie than them killing a turtle. I'm like, it's a little different. You're implying that you're killing humans, or the whole. We all probably know the whole like sticking the pole up the girl.
The worst scene in that movie is a chick getting shish kebab from north to south, if you know what I mean. So it's just it's one of those things. But yeah.
Do you want to know a fun story about that? We watched that movie, but we were doing something the complete fucking opposite. We're like, we should do a cutesy little couple thing, and we made a fucking one of those little fleece like. Look, we're like, let's go get some material. Like, you pick one out, I'll pick one out. We'll make one of those little tie blankets, and we'll just watch Cannibal Holocaust. It'll be a good date night.
Oh, hey,
do you have turtle soup?
Could do like I did the other night. I'm watching Night of the Living Dead, eating a bloody steak just in case. You never know. I got to prepare for these things. So just saying.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe because I've hunted and cleaned animals. I was like, okay, it was a turtle. Yeah. I've seen animals open before. It didn't bother me. I know it's different from someone else, but I'm like, okay.
I can't wait till
those people had it fucking coming. They're a bunch of dicks, and they deserve to die.
I can't wait till we review Cannibal Holocaust. I've got so much knowledge on that movie. I can't wait to drop. But I like that movie.
A couple more pieces of trivia that I think fit perfectly with this movie. Lana, what is her name? Lana Clarkson is credited as one of the girls that was in the big shootout at the Babylon Club scene. She 20 years later in 2003, she would actually be shot to death by music producer Phil Spector at his home in Los Angeles. Who would play Phil Spector in the 2013 biography about his life? But Al Pacino.
Wow.
Irony.
That's crazy.
I need to see that movie.
Wow. You know what? I've wanted to sit and watch it because it's not just Pacino in it. I forget who else was in it, but there's a couple of big actors in it. But it's I
looked it up last night.
Yeah, the whole thing with Phil Spector, that whole thing is kind of a crazy ride anyway.
Yeah.
But even stranger than that, and boy, I don't even know how to wrap my head around this one. Life imitating art, something or other. I don't really know how to quantify this one. Tammy Lynn Leppert, who plays the blonde girl in the blue bikini during the chainsaw sequence, the one that Steven Bauer is macking up to.
Flirting with the buddy against the car.
Yes. She actually disappeared July 6, 1983 under suspicious circumstances and has never been heard from again. While working on this movie, Leppert had a breakdown on the set while watching one of the violent scenes being filmed. After being taken to her trailer, she expressed to a family friend her fears about alleged money laundering and people supposedly wanting to kill her. Tammy quit the film shortly afterwards. She vanished on July 6, 1983, slightly over 5 months before this movie was released in theaters. Leppert's disappearance was featured on the September 16th, 1992 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Tammy's mother was interviewed for the segment. She died a few years later, but Tammy's sister is still searching for her. She has not been heard from.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe she had a reason to disappear. Just,
Maybe she killed herself because it disturbed her and she was not quite well. Not trying to be
there definitely wasn't an actual fucking serial killer in the Exorcist movie.
Yeah, really.
Right. Yeah.
Wasn't there also, what was it in the Jaws movie? Like there was somebody, like one of the extras or something in the background that was like a whole.
I think so. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
It's like one of the group shots. There's somebody
into
a
true crime show because I have lots of things for that.
Maybe, man. I'm just saying it was somebody like one of the extras in Jaws or something were they missing?
I love true crime.
It was something.
No, he was a shark the whole time.
That's why you didn't see him for fucking like 75% of the movie.
It was Agatha all along.
I hate to go, but I'm not. I haven't eaten all day, and I think I gotta go eat something. Cause I'm
No,
not
that's
starting
fine.
to feel.
Actually, I was just about to say this is the perfect time to start wrapping up the show. So,
All right, then I'll wait a few minutes.
Hold on.
Perfect.
Hold on to it.
So, wait,
I'll
Cora.
put a pin in it.
Wait, there's more.
I'll start with Cora. Lady Cora, give me your final thoughts on the 1983 movie Scarface.
I think anybody who hasn't seen it should watch it, and if you have children, when they're of the age they will
Show
not
it
have
to 'em.
nightmares from the chainsaw scene. Make them watch it. Make them appreciate life a little more. Tex, come on now. You're
You would
all
do it.
talk. You protect your daughters from this kind of shit. Come on now.
Beg your pardon. They were watching Walking Dead with me at like 6 years old. I don't know what you're talking about. So
I give you the benefit of the doubt, and you just shut
And my header life page, Jeremy, give me your final thoughts on Scarface.
Yeah, like Cora said, I mean it's kind of a must watch, honestly. And to be fair, hell, double feature with the original one from the 30s. It's kind of a fun contrast to see both movies. Same kind of storyline, but different, different time period, different way you get your kicks. But like I said before, don't fly too close to the cocaine sun because you will get shot in the back, probably, and die. No, yeah, it's a great movie. It's a long watch, but I mean, it's one of those movies I do say you don't really feel it. You're just like we said, the pacing. You just kind of go through the rise and quite literal fall of Tony Montana. So, yeah, it's a hell of a movie, and it's definitely worth a watch.
Kenton, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on Scarface.
Scarface is a great movie, good 80s vibes. It's not Brian De Palma's best. It's not Al Pacino's best, but definitely worth a watch and has one of the most iconic movie posters of all time. We didn't even touch on that, but wow.
Soundtrack too, son.
Soundtrack as well, yes. For Brian De Palma, check out Body Double also. I want to say that.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? Give us your final thoughts on Scarface.
Oh yeah, you can't call yourself a cinephile if you have not watched this at least a couple of times. It's even for somebody like myself who's not a gangster movie guy, I can appreciate it for what it is. And I mean, I love the decade of the 80s, the decade of excess and just so much, all of that, it was so cool. I mean, hey, we got a chainsaw death and a hanging from a helicopter. Just kudos for that. And anybody who's a gun guy, they've seen this as well. So, if you haven't seen it, watch it, say hello to his little friend. So.
I think I said that when I talked about my favorite movie shootouts. I think this was one of them that was up there. That whole ending of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, most people would. I mean, I don't know that I would put it up there. For some people, they would consider this maybe their favorite movie ever made. I can't argue against that. I mean, to me, it's one of the top films made of the last probably 50 years, maybe even the last century of cinema. This is probably one of the at least top 25. I mean, there's been so many great movies that have come out. I think this is up there on the list. Fantastic acting. Pacino, as he was hitting his prime. Again, just great actors, great story. A very polarizing, insane time for the country that the 80s were. Just kind of. This really was filmmaking on cocaine. If you want to kind of give it that analogy, it's like it's so over the top and so crazy, but it's also so brutal and honest. I mean, for several months, maybe even a year or so after this movie was released, like there were, the cartel was like very upset about how their business was put on the screen like this. They were not happy. And Pacino has even talked about some of the security measures they had to take in the months after the release of the film. Like they weren't allowed to shoot in Miami because this activity was so heavy there. They were afraid that they were going to actually get, assassination attempts because they didn't want this stuff to be out there. I mean, the movie is that brutally honest. And movies that are that
would you
honest,
say that they pushed it to the limit?
I would say that they did something. One more time, yeah. I mean, they I mean, this movie is just fantastic. I mean, from start to finish, and it's not even a slow burn. It's not as action packed as a lot of people might think if you just watch clips of the movie. I mean, sure, you see, this stuff, and you think, oh, it's got to be basically just an action movie. It's really not. There really is a lot of character work in the first half of this movie, and there are times that are action-y, especially in the final act when the whole gunfight happens at his house. But I mean, the reality is there's really good acting, really good dialogue all throughout this movie. It's a really good film. It's not just typical action schlock. It's a really good film. It's brilliantly acted, brilliantly written by Oliver Stone. Obviously, he did some research. I mean, he was doing a little bit of cocaine himself at the time, I'm sure.
Probably,
but yeah, I mean,
a little bit.
Yeah, but this movie, it's just brutal and in your face, honest and amazing to watch. And now as we get farther and farther away, now we're what, 40 years away? Yeah, 40 years, 41 years away from that, from when this movie comes out. It still holds up. I mean, you can see a lot of, stuff happening today. Look, this problem that they used in the movie, this cocaine and drug and all that, it hasn't gone away by any means. It's just not talked about the same way. There's so many other things happening that drown out this kind of thing in the news cycle anymore, between Ukraine and Russia and whatever else is going on in the world, that this is still out there and very prevalent. We just don't talk about it the same way anymore. Everything that you see in this movie is still very much happening in this area and so many areas around the country now. It's not gone away. This actually happens. This movie still, you could remake this movie shot for shot today. It would make perfect sense. You would see how it fits in this modern world. But yeah, definitely go check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi right now also, I think. I actually have the 25th anniversary edition on DVD. So that's how I watched it. But it's a fantastic movie. It's one of the best Pacino movies that he's ever going to make. It's easily in his top 5. You could rank it however you want. You wouldn't be wrong either way. But it's a fantastic movie. Great performances. Great subject matter. It really is a must-see, one of the 100 must-see movies of your lifetime, if you really want to go do a deep dive into all kinds of great cinema. Yeah, this is definitely the one. Thanks to all my amazing co-hosts for coming to hang out with us tonight. Very much appreciate it, starting with the Dower Chicago's Lady Cora. Where can the folks at home find you, ma'am?
As I always say, I'm allergic to the internet. I'll see you on Frank's show.
You may not see Cora for the next couple of shows. We're going to be getting a little horry. So, She may be
we're going to be horse.
Couple streams off. We're going to.
Wait, I thought we were doing Superman 2.
We got to get to Superman 4, Quest for Peace. Damn it, we got to get there.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Hey,
no, we don't.
I'm not going to understand the movie if you don't fucking go through all 4.
I don't need to see Richard Pryor being flown around by Superman. I'm good. I'm not going to.
That
good.
was Superman 3.
No.
Not 4. That was Superman 3.
You know what?
Totally different movie.
This is why you stop at 2. This is why you stop at 2.
I need Skype so I can disconnect the call on him. Anyways.
Yeah.
Let's see. Actually, no, we're doing that later in the month. We're doing Batman Returns, Superman 2 later in the month.
Sweet.
Oh, okay.
Peak Batman.
But and to my hetero life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm always here Thursday and Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. I don't know why that became my thing, but it's there now.
It's good. I like it.
I mean, it's I can literally reach over right now and grab a Batman just like right off the shelf. So it's there.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm always here whenever we do stuff, and I know we tossed around the idea before, but it may also be the fact that I don't know how much alcohol, but I'm like, hey, we should do an after show, or we can do this, but then like I can just go stream a game or some shit for like an hour or 2.
Totally eat earlier for that. That'd be great.
Well, there you go. Because as Frank always aptly titles our streams, we suck at Fortnite, so.
Can we call it Squirrel Talk?
Right.
Oh my God.
Squirrel moment.
We can open up. No, because we can open up like Michael Keaton. Like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
There we go.
Like that.
Love it.
But it's just a squirrel that looks like Michael Keaton. For this whole squirrel thing.
Got like a little like
nuts, squirrel, nuts. Come on now, keep up, damn it. What the
I guess the only new thing I've played is the love it or hate it, and everyone seems to hate it, but I think they just want to hate. I started playing the Justice League, Kill the Justice League game, the Suicide Squad game. I'm honestly kind of enjoying it. I'm having a fucking blast. I don't know what.
Eh,
I don't know what.
eh.
Shut up. You wait your
Is
turn.
it people that like the visuals, or they just don't like the idea of the game?
I don't know. It is a little weird that it's set. I mean, I like that it's set in the Arkham games. Like after, I'm like, yeah, okay, but you did kind of somehow Palpatine returned with Batman. And I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
what? Sure. I mean, I always just excuse it as, well, he's Batman. Who cares? I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like if you did. It's kind of like I think it's bigger than the Arkham City map or Arkham Knight map. Sorry, which is massive. But it kind of feels like if anyone's played the Division games from Tom Clancy, it kind of feels like that. Like you got this world to kind of play in now, and you got a base where you can do upgrades, you can do all kinds of cool shit with your weapons, your outfits, augments, shit like that. No, not like Fortnite.
I meant like the outfits and the changing stuff. Like,
yeah. well, I guess
as long as you
Fortnite kind of became
as
COD.
long as you got every character shooting guns, you'll be fine. Because that's all they do.
Well, that's the thing is each character is kind of unique in their own play style. Like I'm really loving Deadshot and Captain Boomerang. Honestly, it's just fun. But yeah, there's that. But I don't know. I still like the idea. Like maybe we could just hang out after, like an after show, and I'll game or something. Because then you can pull in gamers. Because
Love it.
we could put Casey in here, and then I might actually look like I'm a competent player.
You could do it on Twitch if you wanted to.
Yeah, Twitch or something else. Because I mean, I'm not a girl who sits in a hot tub, so I'm sorry.
We'll invite Casey, then we'll call it "We Suck at Fortnite." Then parentheses but Casey sucks more.
Thurman sucks more. Yeah.
Thurman is raw.
Thurman sucks at Fortnite.
He had it right in the hole, so he was ready for that. Anyway, that's all I got.
And to our new friend Kenton, where can the folks at home find you on the internet, my friend?
Reddit.com/u/freakajebus, where I am posting stupid comments and making fan albums out of the band Ween's unreleased songs. Ween. They did the song Ocean Man.
Okay, cool.
They're really obscure and bad, but they're my favorite band.
Do you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
Aside from
that's
that,
what this
thank
show
you.
is. Obscure and bad, but we're great.
That's basically their vibe. Is so bad that it's good. But thank you guys so much for having me on. I really enjoyed this. If you're talking about Batman Returns, that would be a movie that I would not have to rewatch at all to talk about. I have a lot to say about that one. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
We look forward to having you again, especially since Cora doesn't do the horror movies. If you wanted to pop in and talk horror with us, you can certainly fill in for Cora. I don't think anybody would mind.
I've got horror takes for sure. Yeah.
Can I say
he's a fellow haunt actor. Trust me, he's
Alex,
in it.
the guy who does the show Alex in the Garbage Man with Dr. Nick. Yeah. You sound like him. When you first started talking, I was like, "Is that a joke? Is that really him?"
He doesn't sound Canadian whatsoever. That's a terrible thing to say about somebody. Don't go doing that.
Hey,
come on now.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Fantastic.
He's somebody else, don't you know? Sorry.
It's great to have you. You're interesting. It's fantastic. I'm glad you're here.
Tex, where can the folks at home find you?
Here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and trying to watch as much horror as humanly possible. With that being said, my last recommendation was the Hills Have Eyes remake. I've kind of been on a Cannibal Hillbilly kick here lately, so I've dived off into the Wrong Turn franchise. So if you want to have a hilarious time, I especially recommend the second one with Eliza Dushku or whatever. I love this movie. It is so much stupid fun with just stupid teenagers getting murdered by awesome cannibalistic hillbillies. Go have fun with it. Turn your brain off. It's it's no Scarface, but it's a good time. So you'll enjoy it.
I agree with that.
That's for me.
What's your recommendation, Tex, for Hallmark movies this week?
Oh man, I'm busy. I'm washing my hair that night. Sorry.
The new season of Bachelor started. Would you want to watch it with me yet?
Still waiting for that review, damn it.
Waiting for those reviews.
Mhm.
As for me,
We'll
you can
get
find me
there.
here.
We'll get there.
You can find me here on Tuesdays and Thursdays reviewing whatever I feel like reviewing. And then we're going to be going, like I said, we're going back to the scary movies for the next couple of reviews. We're going to be doing a relatively obscure movie called Stitches from 2012. I don't know why I was flipping through Tubi. Yeah, it's totally about knitting. You should totally watch it and then give us your thoughts on knitting.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, but this poster caught my eye as I was flipping through the horror movies on Tubi, and I was like, I really kind of want to try this out. So that's the one we're going to be doing on Thursday. I look forward to seeing it.
I love Tubi.
Good, bad, or terrible. I think it's probably going to be terrible, but I'm going to give it a try because I just can't take my eyes off of it. And then, of course, we'll be getting back into we'll be doing the second offerings of both Batman and Superman later on in the month. And then obviously Madam Web's coming out next weekend. I'm already dreading it. They pushed the review embargo to the day before, which is not a good sign. I just that's sad. I want this movie to be good. Not awesome, just good. And it's already
I can't wait.
So Madam Web, I mean,
Sydney Sweeney gets the Oscar right here, buddy. This is when she gets her big break for her fantastic hair. So
yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm not very optimistic at this point. But rest in peace, Pete. Apparently I can't talk. Rest in peace to Toby Keith. A very unfortunate, way too young, losing his battle. That's why the Red Solo Cup I've been tipping that all night long. That's why the opening's today. Here's to you, Toby Keith. There's one for you, buddy.
Cheers.
There you go. We will see you
One
guys.
for me, gentlemen.
We will see you guys next time. Until then, adios.
Whiskey for my men. Beer for my
the show. Now let's all go do a bump.
And what for your lemon tech? You got your buddies and your horses covered. What about the lemon? What do they get?
They get me.